DC Rebirth was the sales juggernaut DC needed it to be. Metal far outperformed DC Brass's expectations. Books that could not find audiences before the change were suddenly selling well, and they had successfully managed to re engage their core, most loyal fans. Behind the scenes, though, a power struggle was being fought over whose creative vision should lead the comics publisher into its future. Should it be the red hot man of the moment, Scott Snyder, the proven commodity and DC Films right hand man, Jeff Johns, or the executive editor and co publisher who had led DC through its best years of the modern era, Dan Didio? Oh, and Bendis is coming.
He's what?
Oh, he's coming.
I wasn't cueing you for the MVP theme.
I was waiting for it.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. So all that and more on the third part of our DC Rebirth deep dive. Joining me, of course, as always, to have the conversation, we've got Marco,
Celsius!
Tyler,
Comics Pals listeners, you listen to me right now. If you're near your LCS, any type of comic book store, go into the store right now and put your hand in the long boxes for no reason. Their comics are your comics right now. Let's wake up, guys. Let's go. Let's do it.
Interesting.
You guys, so that went over Sean's head, that one?
I love
No,
that
I know
one,
it's
dude.
Funk
Okay.
Flex.
Okay, yeah. Good dude.
Funk, excuse me?
Marco, it is insane how little you know.
What?
That went straight over my head. I just like the explosion sounds.
There's no fucking way, dude.
What is this called?
Marco, did you hear what he said right before we went live, Sean? He asked if Kanye West was a controversial figure.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
That I was
Oh, okay.
being facetious.
All right. Okay.
Wow. Fuck. Okay. Thank goodness.
We're waking up. We're waking up. I got coffee.
Same. Oh, hey,
I'm good.
cheers.
Chat, what's up? I know it's early for most of us. Let's get into it. We are gonna tear the roof down with this deep dive. This episode is gonna be a banger. That is a guarantee. And I want to hear from you guys if you're pumped for this third part of the deep dive. The Civil War for control over DC Comics. Love it.
Control.
Yes. So last week we talked about how Metal had done really well and how DC's executive suite and their editorial wasn't necessarily excited for the event. But it worked. It went great. It did way better than they thought it would. And what's great for DC is that that wasn't the only thing that they had coming out at that time that was a big event. Why? Because Jeff Johns' Doomsday Clock was releasing at the same time.
Mhm.
Dan Didio, though, also had an agenda and plans and things that he wanted to accomplish. So there are three specific people who are vying specifically for creative control over DC's future. And I want to start by lingering a little bit on one of them in particular, and that is Dan Didio. Now, the New 52 deep dive that we did featured a lot of Dan Didio. We talked about him a ton. And some of the material that I want to reference, that I think is critical to reference, is a double dip from our deep dive then. So I'm not going to belabor too many of these points. You probably remember them if you were there for that, if you've watched it. So, yeah. But we need this information because Dan Didio is an important figure in all this, and it's necessary to understand the kind of man he is. Dan Didio's tenure at DC is notable for his preference of a tense, chaotic environment. Creators were frequently pitted against each other, knowingly or otherwise. Creators would be asked to pitch for the same book without necessarily being told what the company is looking for. So here's an anonymous quote provided to Bleeding Cool during the New 52 era. It is okay for someone other than Dan Didio to have an idea. 52 books means 52 writers have been hired to write 52 books every month. That has a huge creative pool to draw from. So why does every idea have to get bottlenecked through one man? Mark Waid, quote, the biggest challenge was actually wisely kept from us by Steve, his editor. Editor-in-chief Dan Didio, who first championed the concept, hated what we were doing with 52. Hated 52. Would storm up and down the halls telling everyone how much he hated it. There's one issue of 52 near the end that was written almost totally by Dan and Keith Giffen because none of the writers could plot it to Dan's satisfaction, which wasn't his prerogative as editor-in-chief, but man, there's little more demoralizing than taking the ball down to the 1 yard line and being benched by the guy who kept referring to Countdown as 52 done right.
Countdown, which I think he was part of, right?
It preceded
Yeah.
this, I believe, yes. Now, just put yourself in Mark Waid's shoes real fast and imagine that your boss is telling everybody how much he loves your old work better than your new work, except for the fact that your new work is doing well. Everybody else is happy with your new work, but your boss hates it.
That seems weird from a EIC editor-in-chief standpoint to dislike the things that are selling really well. That seems a little bit. You ever have a boss that micromanages you and like things are working? There's nothing like this. This is a well-oiled machine, but it's not done the way he wants it to be done.
Yeah.
So then he forces those changes and then fucks everything up. That's kind of what it's sounding like.
Yeah, this is good, but I would have preferred it this way.
Yeah.
There's a word that I've come to prefer for this: meddling. Dan
Punk
Didio's a
ass.
meddler. It's not that these 52, for example, wasn't good or wasn't selling or wasn't enjoyable. It just wasn't what Dan wanted it to be. It wasn't his specific cup of tea, so he had to meddle in that. And that's a very bizarre thing for an editor-in-chief to do, in my opinion. By my estimation,
Yeah.
it's very bizarre to feel like you have to be the one to step in the chair and write the thing.
Yeah. We don't see Cebulski doing that right now at Marvel. Marvel has, fan outrage currently in 2026 over the quality of their perceived quality of their books, but they're still selling like crazy. And you know what? They're just going to keep doing that. And Cebulski or Akira Yoshida, I don't see him writing anywhere either. But like they're not writing the books.
Yeah. They're meant there to just be that guiding hand, but and even then, right? Like you're not here to affect story to that degree. You're here to sort of drive the ship, right? But it's a different situation when you got a foot on the pedal as well.
I got a couple more quotes because I just really think it's important to understand what it was like working for Dan before this, during this. Paul Jenkins, who has just recently, in fact, returned to Marvel in a pretty big way, said this: DC is in the toilet right now. Suffice it to say that the fans are not getting the creators in these books. They are getting an unpalatable product, which is destroyed by editorial interference perpetrated by unqualified project managers.
Damn. Everybody's a fucking project manager.
And as a guy who's worked in technical support before, project managers don't do shit.
Hey, go do this. Hey, he's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Hey, can you give me an update on that thing that you have to figure out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, that sort of rivalrous environment in which creators are pitted against each other, this is a concept that exists all throughout Dan Didio's tenure at DC. And in fact, it was so bad that Dan Didio was forced, allegedly,
Mm.
to apologize to creators for the environment in which they were being forced to work. Because there were so many who were angry that Diane Nelson forced Dan Didio to do this. Quote, this is from Bleeding Cool. With President Diane Nelson to his side, Didio admitted that there had been problems in the editorial chain, apologized for the repeated back and forth on people's scripts and art, and committed to reducing such editorial inputs once an editorial direction had been agreed upon and approved. Diane Nelson said she'd ensure this happened, which left a number of frustrated people rather happy, actually. Let's see how it plays out.
That sucks. You gotta like be there, sitting down, waiting for feedback on your script that, all intended purposes, your editor would have signed off on as well.
Yeah.
Uh, that sucks.
Sucks for the editors too.
Yeah, right.
And
Like it's
what, like,
undermining.
yeah, what are they getting done?
Right. Right.
And Sean, Diane Nelson, what was her role again?
President.
She was president, exactly. Okay. She would be the Buckley to DC at the time for what Marvel is right now. Okay.
Essentially. Oh, by the way, the GOAT game goal is in the chat. We missed it last week for the first time ever, so that made me sad. But hopefully today we can do better on that. Rolliver Queen Reviews dropped $4.99 on us to kick us off today and said, "This is motivating me to get back to doing deep dives on my own channel. I love juicy and meaty, no pause, content like this. Keep it up. Thanks, fellas." You're welcome. And I love the idea that this inspires you to do your own thing. That's very flattering to me. So I will be on the lookout for your version of a deep dive.
No pause is wild.
I appreciate that. Go in, bro. Say what you say.
Go in.
Atomic Hound with the 9.99. Thank you, brother. Sean, I've heard quotes that Didio would say that dissatisfied fans would buy more. Loving this deep dive. Goat Game Chat, let's go. Yeah, you absolutely have heard quotes uh to that sort of idea. And it goes back to what Tom Brevoort said last week that pissed off a lot of people. And Dan Didio's it comes from that same philosophical perspective. The difference is that I don't think Tom Brevoort actually has feelings about the fans, whereas I think Dan Didio's relationship to fans is antagonistic.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
He sees them as like pushing on him.
Like I think what Dan wants is not in line with what the fans want, and he needs to get what he wants off.
Mm,
Whereas Tom Brevoort is doing what he has to do. Like he's doing his job. So
right.
is CB.
do you remember this much? Like the way Brevoort's getting flack online right now. Was Didio getting the same flack? I wasn't on the message boards at the time, and social media. I don't remember it being that crazy against Dan Didio.
There is an amazing article that I pulled from for this, and I pulled from it for the New 52 deep dive. It's on comicsexperience.com. It's called The Case Against Dan Didio.
Okay.
This is written by Abe Kulsa. And the fact that there is an article that exists called The Case Against You is fucking crazy. And I don't know about, like, I haven't seen it for Tom or CB. Dan Didio has fucking haters.
I mean, I've just seen death threats for Tom,
Yeah.
but nothing that has actual academic value to it.
Yeah, and so there was definitely a ton of antagonism toward Dan Didio, but he gave it right back. And part of the problem too is that, he had heat for people's favorite characters. And if he didn't like your character was gonna be in trouble. That being said though, I did want to read a couple more quotes about the environment of DC. From Bleeding Cool, Rich Johnson, quote, "It's a hard time pitching a DC Comics right now. Everyone's at it. Everyone's in competition with each other. Even those who don't know they're in competition with anyone. Tumultuous is the word I've heard used. And it's not just an issue for DC. As a result of the upheaval and uncertainty, record numbers of comic book professionals have been contacting editors at Marvel and publisher of Image, Eric Stevenson, than ever before. I read this quote earlier in the deep dive. There's a reason I'm reading it again. This is important data. Why are comic book creators being pitted against each other? Employees, contractors, independent contractors.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But,
yeah.
They work for you.
Right. It's duplicative effort. It's wild to think that you go out and you request two people to do the same sort of job for what? You're burning in your efficiency there. The quality too. Not getting better books just because you say make two people do it.
Especially, yeah, right. They don't even know that they're engaged in that. I'm not gonna like if your philosophy is iron sharpens iron, the irons have to clash.
Right.
Sure.
Right. Yeah, they gotta know. They gotta be like, actually, I'm gonna outpitch you. I'm just throwing soft lobs.
Not that I'm advocating for that, but if you were gonna do that, wouldn't it make sense that the person knows that, hey, like, you're not the only one pitching for this, so make sure you throw me the best fucking thing you got? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Then your peers vote. You've been voted off
I mean,
the bullpen.
isn't that still kind of normal? The pitching, like, here's an idea, I need multiple people to pitch for it.
Nah, I personally never really read that. You often see stuff like, hey, we want a Phoenix book, Stephanie Phillips. What's your pitch?
Mm.
And she's the one they want. And if her pitch sucks, then they go to someone else. Most of the time, what I read is that creators are chosen, the project is chosen, and then a creator is chosen to fit the project.
It's part of the
Yeah.
editor's job.
Yeah.
Is
Right.
making those matches, yeah.
Yeah. Or DC's case more recently, you get people pitching because they're a fan of something.
Yeah. That's even going creator first, even before character.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing wrong with having a character you need to get over. They're not human. You can definitely treat a character how you need to, but the human part, it's a little sucky. And Warren Ellis wasn't too happy about it. I know we don't love him, but shoot the messenger if you want to. I don't really care. The message is what's important in this case. Quote, "I'm hearing a lot lately about writers being put into foot races on gigs. And not only do they not know who else is running for the job, but many of them seem to not be told they're in a foot race at all. Writers who assume that they were writing the gig are being told that they never had the gig at all, that other writers have been running parallel to them, even though they were put through multiple drafts. They didn't know they were in competition. They are finding new and interesting ways to piss off more people than they're hiring."
It feels like
Wild.
more like a acting audition. But at least the actors know they're auditioning against people,
Yeah, they're there with them alongside
That's
on the
true,
line.
yeah, yeah.
Also,
Huh.
let's be clear. This isn't the same thing as being hired to write a script for a Hollywood film.
Yeah,
You get paid for the script treatment,
that's
even if
true.
they don't use it.
That's true, yeah.
Writers and artists and colorists and inkers and everybody else get paid a page rate.
Also, how does
Mhm.
this protect how does DC not run into, like, this the reason why people can't read, like, spec scripts? Um, like, say, I don't know, writer A pitches a story, right? Writer B pitches another story, but DC uses some elements of writer A's story.
They own everything you pitch, dude.
They own the pitches too, if they're not
Absolutely.
paying for it?
We've seen this before. Anything you pitch to DC, or Marvel is owned by them. You can't it's ideas for their characters. It's not original
Oh, I
ideas.
see. Sure. No OC there.
Yeah.
But like that's like if like say I wrote a script for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, right? And if one of those writers in that read that script and put something in it in their show without, letting me know, I could sue them. Couldn't I, even though it's their IP?
I'm not sure how you would even
I guess yeah,
like
you'd have
we've
to prove it
seen.
against a big corporation.
Yeah,
Right.
I
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
like we've actually seen instances of this happening before
Mm.
where creators have made the argument that an idea that they had ended up being co-opted for something else. I mean, for example, Twilight of the Superheroes is often it's often claimed that Kingdom Come was directly um inspired, I
Oh,
guess,
that's right. Yeah.
by
Yeah.
Twilight. That was a spec idea that Alan Moore gave, and they cannibalized it allegedly.
Moore got paid for that pitch though, right?
I have no idea.
Mm.
I
I
have
mean,
absolutely no clue.
Let's ask him.
presumably not. If yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when he's on the show next week. I'm just kidding.
There was a recent Alex Ross interview where I think they talked about Twilight or Kingdom Come and like the crossover between that. Sorry,
Well,
that's an aside.
Mark Waid was to be the editor.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, so it's a weird scenario. It's a very, very bizarre scenario. But DC was in an unprecedented situation. Never before had DC had this many talented, successful, and creative architects at the same time. Scott Snyder and Jeff Johns were tentpole creators, and the company literally built its fiscal years around. It was in their best interest to let the creators do what they wanted. But what if what they want to do conflicts? What happens then? Scott Snyder, metal, big idea, big book. On the other side, you've got Jeff Johns, who establishes rebirth and the concept of hope and everything else. And his big play is Doomsday Clock. Now, we had Jeff on the show. We had Gary Frank on the show. And Jeff told us specifically that Doomsday Clock was solicited before it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that they were supposed to have, I believe it was 6 months more time than what they ended up having. Doomsday Clock #1 released in November of 2017. And we did a deep dive on Doomsday Clock already, so there's so much that we're not going to get into here that we did over there, and I encourage you to listen to that. It very much is like a 2.5 episode.
Yeah.
And a
of
book
this.
club where we talk about the book. So double whammy.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of stuff we're not going to go over here, but I want to talk about specifically what was happening creatively behind the scenes as it relates to this book. Jeff Johns was not allowed to write more than 2 books for DC at a time. That was placed upon him by Diane Nelson, president of DC at the time, who wanted Jeff to focus on A, putting out the best quality books he could, but also B, doing his thing in Hollywood. Jeff Johns was a big piece of what they were doing with, what we refer to now as the Snyderverse. Notably, the Aquaman film would go on to make $1 billion, and the script was written by Jeff Johns.
Yep.
It's a pretty big deal.
Good movie too.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Why was Doomsday Clock solicited so early?
Pettiness? Is that the answer?
Well, when we talked to Jeff, he said that he felt that they needed a big announcement for the quarter. from a from a business like stock standpoint.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Yeah.
And that sounds reasonable enough. I don't have a problem believing that if that's what Jeff believes. But I have another thought. This isn't what Jeff told me. I don't know this for a fact. It's just my opinion, my thought, my speculation. Put your tinfoil hat on. I wonder if there was some meddling going on.
Oh.
Mhm. From the meddler?
I wonder about that because we understand, as previous episodes have laid out, that the message of Jeff Johns' Rebirth was about going back to the old ways, the ways that work, the ways of hope, the ways of legacy, the ways of tapping into what DC does best.
That alpha energy that Superman brings.
Sure. But Dan Didio did not want to go back to the old ways. He wanted to blaze a new trail. The New 52 is his baby.
Yep.
It is. We're going to talk later, next episode, about how much he loved that era and loved it more than Rebirth. So if this is the same guy who loved Countdown, hated 52, wouldn't shut up about it, and then literally had to get in the chair to write it and push aside the creators who were working on that book, who, by the way, were no slouches. Mark Waid is not a fucking jobber.
Mhm.
What is he willing to do in the case of an event that he really doesn't want to happen?
Because you got to keep in mind too, with Doomsday Clock, it was the future of the DC universe. This is what the line is supposed to be leading up to, right?
Yeah.
And that, as an editor in chief, what in my eyes, I can see that being like a slight on me. You know, if I'm going to be real pessimistic about it, like, oh, you get to decide what the future is. Bet.
That's exactly what we're seeing here.
Yeah. I'm not a petty guy, but I can put myself in some petty shoes.
Sure, yeah. And we had also mentioned, and you just brought it up too, Jeff was only able to write X number of books any one time,
Yeah.
right? And so throwing him in the deep end, hey, wrap up this event, without participation of the larger story or the larger initiative that's going on, I also imagine there's a sense that maybe, and this is my tinfoily hat, but like, you might fuck that up. You can put your name at risk.
Sure. Yeah. And you know what? It's weird because Doomsday Clock was an unmitigated success. And yeah, you can talk about the novelty of the idea, and
Sure.
that's valid. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that it would have sold like that it wouldn't have sold well regardless. I think it probably would have done all right regardless.
Y-
Good.
But having Gary Frank and Jeff Johns on it adds a cherry on top.
And it's probably why it was able to sustain
Yeah.
its sales throughout the run, which was rocked by delays that are inevitable when you have a creative team like this who needed to take their time. Doomsday Clock should have always been bi-monthly, which
Yep.
is what it would become. I mean, look, it took 3 years for Doomsday Clock to fully release.
That
Damn.
long?
Yeah, bro.
Damn. I was doing a podcast at the time, and I guess I never finished reviewing those issues because the podcast fizzled.
Yeah.
Huh.
But the first issue sold amazingly. In fact, issues 1 and 2 both, or excuse me, not issues 1 and 2. The first issue twice was number 1 and 2 on the sales charts for November 2017. They each sold 119,000 copies. There was a standard cover, and then there was also and the various variants which are included in that.
Yep.
But then there was also the lenticular edition, which went for $5.99 and again sold 119,000 copies as well.
I think I have that one too.
I think I was just about to say, I think I might have picked that one up.
I
Yeah.
don't know that I do.
Yeah, I'm
I don't know
pretty
that I
sure I
do.
have that copy.
I gave away all of my Doomsday Clock stuff, but I'm positive I had that first issue.
The lenticular one, right?
The lenticular, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, it definitely rings a bell. Because didn't that come with like a big print as well? I remember getting like a black and white print of that first cover.
Yeah. I got oh well, I got that cover, that black and white print, I think from Comic-Con, Marco, right? When they
Oh,
announced
that
when
might be what that
Yes, you
is.
got,
Yeah.
but the lenticular, I for sure did get this because it was the Rorschach mask, and you could flip between the Rorschach, and you could flip between it would have the Trinity on the mask.
Mm,
I for sure got this.
Huh.
interesting. Interesting. Yeah, but it sold incredibly well. And it's it's frankly bizarre that you would want to hurt something like this. Doomsday Clock #2 was the best selling book of December. 158,000 copies sold, released on December 27th.
Like how
So,
we're saying a huge success. We're talking 158,000 copies.
It's
And
wild.
we're going to be talking about Batman later, which is double that.
yeah. Yeah, no, for sure.
Hey, dude, over
Comics are
10
dying.
years,
Comics are dying, guys.
they are. Over 10 years though, they've doubled
Mhm.
at minimum.
Now, the same exact day as Doomsday Clock #2 released, Metal #4 released, and it sold 152,000 copies. So it came in under Doomsday Clock. But remember how we talked about the importance of Metal's success to the DC brass? Why was Metal so important for DC to, well, meddle in? But Doomsday Clock wasn't. I told you that DC builds its tentpole around these two creators. Why did they release their events simultaneously?
Hmm.
Oh, it's almost like they didn't intend to.
I remember
It's
this being
almost like
confusing too.
if Metal had ended and then Doomsday Clock started when it was supposed to, that would be a straight fucking line, right?
Yeah, but they did it early. They slowed down the actual production of it. That's right. That's right.
And it was early by 6 months. Is that what I remember?
I believe that's what Jeff said.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what Jeff said at least. Yeah.
Which makes
Which
sense.
for comics, especially Gary Frank, who like
Yep.
not that he needs time, but like he's a detailed artist, you know. And Geiger he has headway on that. Probably because of this experience. So that is severely hobbling a creative team.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. And we just read Doomsday Clock, so you guys are intimately familiar with all the back matter, right? All the effort that went into putting that stuff
It's
together. These
true,
were
yeah.
not simply made comics,
There's essays.
right?
Yeah.
Fucking artifacts and shit in the back of those issues. That took a lot of time. And I appreciate all that. And in retrospect, the delays and stuff don't bother me because it's 2026. This shit came out 10
Yeah.
years ago.
And the quality of the book doesn't diminish.
Right.
Like you don't if you read those books without knowledge of delays, that is a fully realized story.
Yeah.
And especially in terms of art. The art never drops and maybe even gets better throughout because there's more characters introduced and things become bigger.
Yeah.
So I think that at least is impressive. Yes, it's because of delays. And yes, it took 3 years for 12 issues to come out. But
And it doesn't matter today, but it is I can still imagine that it must have been quite frustrating to be in that position as the creatives behind this title. And it's their #1 selling title every month that it releases.
Jeff Johns
For
is like, that editor in chief's trying to fuck on me.
It's fucking insane. It's fucking insane.
And meanwhile, the Didio is just what writing Metal Man and OMAC.
Uh were those I'm not sure if they were releasing at this time.
OMAC was a New 52 start, so definitely not OMAC. But I think he was Didio always I felt like had his pet projects in the line at a certain point, you know?
He liked to be writing something. And
Yeah.
and there's, again, like if he fancies himself a writer and he feels like that's what he is, then okay, I don't mind you writing, but how about you write your own stories instead of meddling in other people's stories?
Yeah, yeah. I just pulled it up. It's like happening in like 2020. Because there's even in the solicit, Metal Man, Platinum Gold, Lead, blah blah blah. To make matters worse, a mysterious metal has come through the dark multiverse. So
It was Metal Man at this point then. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
to tie into Metal.
yep.
Which I guess is Metal, and that future that Snyder was writing was the one Didio was probably on the side of, right?
Uh-uh.
There's a secret third thing.
Oh yeah.
Damn
Oh
it.
yeah.
I just thought based on Didio's fashion choices with the shirts, he'd be into Metal. Man, we're never getting him on the show now.
Oh, we will. We will. I love Dan Didio. Like, I hope everybody understands. None of this is actually meant to be a character assassination. We're presenting facts,
Yeah.
but my opinion is different. Do I think he meddled? Yeah, I do. But does that make me hate him? No, I'm actually fascinated by him.
Were you telling me he meddled with Metal while he's writing Metal Men?
Actually, yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling you. And
Dude's a
let's say
metalhead.
how. Let's say exactly how. Dan Didio and others, it's not just him, but allegedly, they were not happy with Metal. We talked about that last week. They wanted Metal to be called Dark Crisis,
Mm-hmm.
and they pushed hard for that. In fact, Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson just were on Scott Snyder's Substack, and behind the paywall, they were having a conversation about this era. And Scott said that there were always these titles that for some reason DC would try to shove down their throat and make them use
Huh.
for events. And they were funny actually. I wish I had written more of them down. Some of them didn't even make any sense. But one of them was Dark Crisis. And they tried to get them to use the title Dark Crisis for Metal. They didn't want to do that. They hated the cover, the Justice League in the metal, the rocker,
which is a rad cover.
Yeah.
it's awesome, and the internet ate it up.
Yeah.
But editorial and the meddler didn't like it. And Dan Didio had a plan for Metal. He wanted it to be something specific that he could use.
Yep.
That he could use as a springboard. But I want to let that simmer for a little minute.
Okay.
Because I want to go back to Doomsday Clock. And we're gonna weave this. So there's an excellent, excellent article that I think everybody should read if they really love this shit. If you're really into this, then you should go to avclub.com. This was written by Oliver Sava, and it's called Jeff Johns Reckons with His DC Comics Legacy in Doomsday Clock number 10. This is the issue where you really get deep into like why Dr. Manhattan did what he did. Why he manipulated and changed the legacy and the history of DC, the timeline. And Oliver in this article posits that in fact Jeff Johns represents himself as Dr. Manhattan in this book.
Oh,
That
interesting.
he is Dr. Manhattan. Oliver posits that Jeff Johns puts himself in the position of Dr. Manhattan. And if you read the Nathaniel Dusk pieces, that's meant to represent the idea of Hollywood coming into play, and Jeff being Carver Coleman playing Nathaniel Dusk, doing what he needs to do to have a career, but not necessarily, and getting what he wants, but not necessarily what he needs or what's best for him. Jeff Johns, what's best for Jeff is to be a comic book writer, not to be in Hollywood where he gets used. Jeff Johns is Dr. Manhattan going into the New 52, making the New 52, having a hand in that, and having the fans be angry at him for what he created. The same way that DC's characters are angry at Dr. Manhattan for what he did to them. Jeff Johns is one of the architects of the same thing that he would go on to say was the antithesis of what DC should stand for. He didn't do it because he wanted to do it. He did it because he was put in the position to have to do it. The New 52 was pitched to him, but he took the Dr. Manhattan position and put the pieces in place to make it happen.
Interesting. I always viewed it as Jeff was Superman and Dr. Manhattan could be a DiDio type.
I absolutely see that angle as well.
But then I don't factor in the Carver Coleman of it all, which is if you guys haven't read the book, it's a story throughout all the issues in the background of an actor, kind of weaving the issues similar to the pirate story in the original Watchmen.
The Black Freighter.
Yeah.
I'm going to read a little bit from this. Scenes from Carver Coleman's Nathaniel Dusk film, The Adjournment, have been sprinkled throughout Doomsday Clock. Nathaniel Dusk is a private investigator character introduced by DC in the mid-1980s and erased from continuity after Crisis on Infinite Earths. And Johns uses Dusk to integrate the relationship between comics and film into the Doomsday Clock narrative. Warner Brothers made its name with gangster films, and by incorporating an established DC character into the movie studio's golden age, he draws a cinematic parallel to the comic book golden age begun by the debut of Superman. Hollywood is at the foundation of Jeff Johns' comic book career. He broke into the entertainment industry as a production assistant for Superman the movie director Richard Donner, who would join Johns as the co-writer of Action Comics in the mid-2000s. This is stuff, of course, we know. Revitalizing dusty properties and penning hit crossover events that reshaped the entire DC universe, and that knowledge would prove very useful to Warner Brothers as superheroes surged in popularity in both film and television. Like Carver Coleman, Jeff Johns got ahead in Hollywood because superheroes helped him see the future. But once you reach a certain level of power, you become a target. Carver is killed by his mother when she bashes his skull in with his Academy Award. Johns is fired by DC's parent company after being set up for failure with a troubled production. The roots of that troubled production started Superman, and Zack Snyder's Man of Steel kicked off DC's cinematic universe with a bleak, cynical worldview that was more distinctive than Marvel Studios' work, but also not as appealing. As the first of its kind, Superman is at the core of DC's universe, even if he's not DC's most profitable character. There's something particularly intoxicating about changing Superman, but if you go too far, there's one hell of a come down. DC Entertainment felt it after Man of Steel, and Johns felt it after the New 52. With all this context in mind, the narration from Dr. Manhattan gains autobiographical implications that make Doomsday Clock more personal. Quote, "I have recreated the metaverse, and it has turned against me. I see a vision of Superman in the future. He has found me, and he destroys me, or I destroy the metaverse."
So the example here being he's in that position, either he succumbs to, or he does the job, right? But he doesn't see a vision for himself in the following DC universe at that point. I guess we could also kind of extrapolate from that, right? Like that's the end point for Dr. Manhattan. There is no future.
Tyler, you seem like you have a question.
No, I don't have a question. I'm just trying to solidify this in my head.
Yeah, ingest it.
Yeah. When it comes to Dr. Manhattan, I got to sit with it a little bit. A lot of things happening at once.
I'm going to tie this in to something that I loathe. Normally, I don't want to talk about how much I dislike something, but I fucking hate Heroes in Crisis. And I read it again last night for this, and I hate Heroes in Crisis.
More or less?
More.
More? Oh.
Because there's more that I know now.
You heard it here, folks. Here's a Crisis, powerful book.
Tom King was the golden boy of comics at this time. Everything he touched, he was Midas. Everything he touched was going to win an Eisner, was going to be a top seller, whatever. Hot off the heels of Vision, he comes to DC for the Batman gig.
Yep.
It's a big deal. It's huge. And then he had an idea for Sanctuary, which was this place that superheroes could go to get mental health help, mental rehab. And he had seeded it in a couple things, Batman primarily. But then the event happens. And Doomsday Clock releases, its release arc encompasses Metal, but it also encompasses Heroes in Crisis, which is crazy to think about. But, you know, to be fair to DC, what are they supposed to do? Stop all the fucking trains? They can't do that.
Yeah.
I have a lot of things that I want to say about Heroes in Crisis. None of them are good.
Man, you can't even say the Clay Man art is good.
All right, I can say that.
Yeah.
But even that becomes problematic because the book has multiple artists. Issue 7 has 3 different artists on it. It's Clay
Does
Mann,
it?
Travis Moore, and Jorge Fornes.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I don't remember that at all.
Those are all great artists. But yeah, in an event book, you kind of want a singular vision.
They don't go together. I had whiplash last night. My neck still fucking hurts.
And it's not that we're like traversing things or different environments, or like there's no narrative sense to the different artists.
Very central story. It's interviews and Sanctuary. And then they're on the lam for a bit in some of it, but it's still pretty condensed.
Yeah.
Don't worry, guys. This is all going to tie in. So with Heroes in Crisis, even the first issue doesn't work.
Okay.
It just doesn't work. You could feel how wrong this is. Those cut-ins of characters in therapy are just awkward. And they're jarring, and some of them feel deeply personal and introspective, and then some of them are just like funny. Like the character's making a quip or something. Why are characters quipping while we're watching dozens of superheroes be murdered?
Ooh. I'd actually argue that makes sense.
Of course you would. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I think that's awful. And I felt disgusting reading it last night.
I thought it was a way to show those characters will not open up.
I get that, but those aren't even the only characters that make jokes. Batman is joking all throughout this book, and the subject matter is extremely serious. It doesn't feel like it belongs in a superhero comic, but if you're going to do it, treat it seriously. And Tom King didn't do that, and it made me feel like it was disrespectful to the idea of tackling mental health in a comic book. Why does Blue Beetle say, quote, "You ever see that old movie? The one where the guy has to do the thing? I think that's me. I'm the guy who has to do the thing." What was Tom trying to say with that, Tyler?
Well, I think that's just Blue Beetle. Like, I don't think Tom's trying to say anything there. It was just Blue Beetle's inexperience. And he's trying to, reference something that he's young and he can't even get the fucking reference.
This is Ted
right.
Cord.
Oh, this is Ted Cord Blue Beetle.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. I'd have to read it in context. I don't know. I actually like I like the interview portion of Heroes in Crisis a lot.
It has its moments.
I think it is, because a lot of those characters, they only get one panel for an interview. Some of them get multiple, and I think some of them land, some of them don't, but there's a lot of characters, and I'd like to see Tom King's attempt to synthesize what the character is that succinctly. And sometimes it doesn't land. Sometimes I think it does, though.
We got to reread that.
I would
Go
kill
ahead.
for it.
I already did, and I hate it.
I mean, I would
It
kill
was
for a book
fucking
club on it, to be
garbage.
honest.
Batman's therapy session doesn't even make sense. He says, "I train partners to work with me. I've watched so many of them die." How many again, Tom?
So many of them.
I mean,
Quite the number.
Oh, I forgot. It doesn't fucking matter what the truth is, because that's what Tom King had to write. He just had to write that. It doesn't matter that Batman hasn't actually watched all these Robins die. That's a lie. But never let the truth get in the way of a good story, right, Tom?
That's right.
One died.
That's exactly, yeah, exactly. Just the one.
And he's saying people
that-
he trained?
Yes, I read you a direct quote.
Trained. Okay. I was going to say, you saw plenty of Justice Leaguers die, but I don't think he trained them. So
How the fuck does Harley Quinn beat the Trinity? She
Huh?
is she. They have her dead to rights in an environment, in a warehouse or a barn or whatever,
yeah.
and she just gets away from them. Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman can't stop Harley Quinn.
She got that plot armor.
Nobody
yeah.
can stop the pen of Tom King. He'll
The
do
real villain.
anything to get his moment off.
The real villain.
Man, I think I'm going to reread this. I don't know for what. Not that I have to read something for something, but I remember liking it towards, but then like diminishingly disliking it. But more so liked than disliked.
I remember your reviews on it because I felt like you were one of the very few people that were like,
Oh,
no,
God.
we gotta
I
walk
was
through.
fighting, man. I was fighting.
Dude, for your life.
Because like I remember they would also like the intro pages would be like some random ass fucking character.
Yeah, yeah.
Like one was about a caveman who I had to like look up on Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's right.
Grok or
Grok. Grok.
No,
Well, what is the consensus on Heroes Crisis?
it's Narc.
Narc.
Okay. Yeah.
This is what Superman's confessional is. Quote, is Clark Superman trying to be flawed, or is Superman Clark trying to be better? Nah, Superman doesn't think like that. That's bullshit. Superman is absolutely past that. There's no doubt in my mind. I don't fucking believe this. Tom King, you're full of shit.
I can justify that one.
I'm not here to talk to you about this because you clearly have some kind of a bias in your mind about Heroes in Crisis. There's no way.
It's an opinion. I read the book and I liked it. That's all it is. It's not a bias.
That's bugged out. Like you could like it, but I don't see any world where this
That's your
feels
perspective,
appropriate for the characters. Yeah, it's not just mine. A lot of people hated Heroes in Crisis. It's a
though. A
general
lot of people
opinion.
can have a different opinion.
It's a generalized opinion that Heroes in Crisis was bad. You can disagree. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying that this is the consensus.
I'm saying if you're talking to a confessional booth therapist, you might start just fucking saying shit. Especially when there's no person to talk to. Like they're talking to robots, right? I believe that's what it was.
Yeah.
The Sanctuary, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if you've ever like recording newsletters, right? Sometimes I just start fucking yapping and I'm working through things without even realizing I'm saying it. You know what I mean? When you're not talking to a person. And that's how I kind of viewed those confessional parts. That maybe it brings out stuff that you didn't even really know or expect to say.
I didn't buy it. I don't buy it in the case of Superman. And then we had to deal with Lagoon Boy, who I'd never seen before in my fucking life. This book is a travesty.
He's in Young Justice. He's pretty prominent in Young Justice. So I was like, yo, shit, Lagoon Boy's in this. And he's not for long, guys. I'm sorry.
Big ups to my boy Lagoon Boy.
I knew it was a mistake to bring up Heroes in Crisis, dude. I knew it.
Didn't we have conflicting, like, not beef, but like cross podcast discussions on this? I would write into the show. I would write into the Comics Pals as a listener.
Vice versa.
Here's the standout quote from this book that everybody references. It's the biggest meme that came out
Hal
of
Jordan
it.
one.
The one that proves how bad this book is, because Tom King just doesn't know the characters he's writing for. Quote, let's be honest. I don't even know what the hell Will is. Do you?
I forgot that happens.
Yeah.
Tom King is literally taking the central characters of DC and just making them dumb as fuck. He's missing the point with every single one of them.
Which is funny because doesn't Tom King do the Dark Side War Hal Jordan one shot?
Yeah, he does.
And that is a whole culmination of how Hal Jordan understands Will, and he's the embodiment of it and becomes the god of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the guy.
Yeah. So I don't know. I thought it was like, hey, if you just change that to Kyle Rayner, I believe that. But yeah, like I said, I think some of them land, some of them don't.
It's not a this was not the book that Tom King shouldn't have done this. I don't understand how this was thought to be a tentpole type idea. It sold okay, not great. And again, the critical reception and fan reception to this book was poor. And there's a really good reason for that. Um, the reason is that this book it stands in exact opposition to the point of Rebirth.
Mm-hmm.
And so why is the creative direction
Oh.
shifting in this way? If metal is one track, which doesn't disagree with Doomsday Clock's track.
No.
It doesn't stand in opposition to what Johns has put down since Rebirth.
Yeah.
They work alongside each other fine. But Heroes in Crisis does not. Heroes in Crisis is directly opposed to them. So much to the point, I'm going to go back to the AV Club article to explain to you exactly how opposed they are and why this was such a bad thing. Quote, it feels like DC has turned against Jeff Johns in the past year, largely because of how it has handled Wally West in the pages of Heroes in Crisis. Doomsday Clock number 10 was released on the same day as Heroes in Crisis number 9, which, by the way, is the finale issue of that, giving readers some serious whiplash in how they present Wally West's function within the DC universe. In Doomsday Clock, Wally is universal antibody, fighting the Dr. Manhattan infection by remembering the world before the New 52. He's situated as a beacon of hope, but in Heroes in Crisis, his trauma has driven him to mass murder.
Yeah.
It's a message completely opposed with what Johns is trying to say in Rebirth and Doomsday Clock. And seeing DC diminish Johns' work while still in progress is fitting, given the book's relation to Watchmen, a comic with a legacy steeped in conflict between publisher and creator.
So the secret third track is this nihilistic track on things. This is the track that Didio was kind of looking towards. What's the word I'm looking for here too? And this kind of also tracks with his plans for Superman and what Grant Morrison stopped with
Decided
bringing
not to do.
Superman more into with the Authority, Superman, the Authority, and making
Yeah.
that more of a not darker, but more nihilistic character and a more paranoid character. Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with you on one thing. The Heroes in Crisis ending with Wally West and what it does to Wally West was jarring at the time. Wally West was the character that finally came back, was able to do stuff again, and even shows up in even that weird interstitial in the middle of Doomsday Clock, where Lex sees that happening. So Wally is a beacon at this point in comics. And then seeing this happen, I was like, oh, what the fuck? Why choose that character? Like, I understand the legacy of it and the power set, but yeah, I thought that was just distinctly jarring.
I remember at the time it just didn't connect with me. I didn't have the experience.
You're like, Wally who?
Literally, I was just like, who's this guy?
There's two Flashes.
Jay's no. Where's Jay?
Why would someone do this? Why would someone do this? It doesn't make any sense. Jeff Johns is no writer in DC's modern era, to that point. I don't know where things stand now. It's probably Snyder now, but no writer to that point had sold more comics than Jeff Johns in the modern era. So why would you sabotage his perspective or his, his creative track like this?
Beef.
Yes. Putting the beef you have above everything. That seems extremely short-sighted.
Do you tinfoil hat time? Do you think Wally's role was mandated by Didio? Wally's role in Heroes in Crisis, I will say.
I'm going to answer that with a quote.
Okay.
I'm going to answer that with a quote from Tom King. And this came from his appearance on the Uncensored Nerds podcast. He said, I regret casting in Heroes in Crisis, a comic I'm proud of. I regret putting Wally West in that. He should not have been the star of that. The audience was not ready for that. Now, I read Heroes in Crisis most recently of anybody probably listening to me right now. And Tom King broke his back to figure out a way to make Wally West the perpetrator. Issue 8 is just it took 22 pages to explain
Yeah.
how this was even possible. It makes no sense. It's really bad.
Yeah, that issue 8's rough.
And I have a tough time believing that that was always what he wanted to do.
On your reread, does it seem like it could have been someone else based on the story, or it just had to be Wally throughout this, and like it was going to be Wally throughout this story, or like do you see like a distinct shift in the narrative throughout it?
No, I think by the time they started
Okay.
working on the project, it was probably like the direction was
Already.
set.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I don't think that I don't even know that I think it makes sense that Wally is in, like, it doesn't make sense that Wally's in this role. Like, it almost makes more sense if it was Booster or Harley, which is what the book tries
Yeah.
to set up.
Yeah. Booster actually,
Oh,
I think,
that's
made the most
right.
sense for me out of reading it, because he's always kind of a fuck up.
Yeah.
Wally being at Sanctuary made sense. Like his
Sure.
inclusion in the book makes a lot of sense. Out of any of the characters who needed fucking therapy, it's probably the guy that was snapped out of existence for a little bit and was aware of it.
Mm. And I guess like to tie it also to I guess coming from that place of there's beef here, but also the practices at hand from Didio, you know, to have these opposing ideas, the opposing sort of ends for characters, the sentiments. If you're pitting your creators against each other, but you're also not being communicative, then I imagine these creators weren't aware, or there's a limited knowledge share there. And so as these books are coming out, they're also reading it for the first time themselves, being like, wait, hold on a second, why is this person going this way? Why while I'm doing XYZ thing? The trio of them actually.
And it's also like, imagine how much you have to piss Didio off for him to choose your character over Nightwing.
But Wally's a frequent target for Didio
Sure.
anyway.
Sure.
New 52 does not feature Wally.
The Titans are a frequent, thing, just because they're that stuck legacy that he doesn't like. Like, where does Metal lead to? At least in New Age of Heroes. Shout out Sideways.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
MP said, and I agree with this wholeheartedly, I suspect King starts with a plot and story and then puts characters into it rather than starting with characters and building a story for them. Do you know where the idea of Sanctuary came from? It came from Tom King being in the hospital,
Yeah.
and having to watch his grandmother pass and having to get therapy for that and realizing that, hey, superheroes probably need therapy too.
I mean,
I don't think that's a bad thing to do. But I think if you're gonna cast a book based around a plot you came up with, then you should pick fucking better characters than these.
Oh, whoa. Don't hate on Lagoon Boy like that.
my goat.
Oh my goodness. We got so many super chats. We already hit the goal. You guys came back with a vengeance. You saw what happened last week. Some of you that weren't here last week, and you said, "Oh shit. We gotta show the comics pals that we're still fucking with them." So thank you guys so much for that. We'll read your super chats here in a moment. Now, Tom King and Heroes in Crisis really put a bullet in the idea of Wally West representing hope.
Yes.
And that feels like a bullet shot at the audience, less than any particular writer. I mean, definitely it sullies Jeff Johns' plans. But I always go back to that antagonism that I feel that Didio has for the audience who are fans of these characters. And we'll probably never know the truth. If we had Tom King on again or Dan Didio on for the first time, I would love to ask what was the original idea, like what was the original plan for Heroes in Crisis? Did it include Wally? How did we arrive at that? But something would happen in the midst of all this. Jeff Johns would lose a job. Jeff Johns lost the roles of Chief Creative Officer
Yes.
and President of DC Entertainment. He lost those positions. His influence had waned dramatically because now Diane Nelson, who was his biggest advocate, was out in Z. And so were all her people. That's when Jeff Johns launched Mad Ghost and the Killing Zone and was working as a hired gun for DC once again. Keep in mind, he's been an executive for a little while now. He's back to being a hired gun. He has no more power here. They gave him his little fiefdom with the Golden Age stuff that they allowed him to do. They let him do 3 Jokers. And they said, okay, Jeff, bye-bye.
Thanks for your time.
He no longer has any creative influence over the direction of DC. Notably, there is no relevant follow-up to Doomsday Clock. The stories never end up catching up to what Doomsday Clock was supposed to be putting down. Yes, Scott Snyder does go on to address some of those things. He's the only one that does in a meaningful way. I wonder why that is.
Snubbed otherwise. And Jeff loses that because of some of the restructures, right? Like he's not fired.
He's fired from
those roles.
Yeah, like he's no longer in those.
He's still able to hang out at WB and the studios and stuff like that. So like he's not like excommunicado, but like those roles just don't go to him anymore.
Right. He hangs around, but he's not in the executive meetings no more.
And he was still, he's still writing comics, still writing for the films. So it's not like he's out of the way. It's just that creatively speaking, from a visionary standpoint, he doesn't have that influence.
Right. And he's doing Stargirl at the time too, which he's showrunning, right? Oh, so true, there's a lot of time and investment there. That's his baby.
Yeah.
It's disappointing that that's the way that Jeff Johns' tenure as a DC Comics executive ends. And I don't look at this as the end of Rebirth, because I think my personal endpoint of Rebirth is death metal. But this could be viewed as the end of Rebirth, Heroes in Crisis, taking out Wally in this way.
Death of Hope.
Yeah, it's the death of Hope.
Yeah. I think that's what Wikipedia says too. Like that's the timeline they give.
And for its part, in 2017, DC did announce the end of the use of the Rebirth banner. They announced that in 2017, but we were still solidly in the Rebirth era, in my opinion. At least up until Heroes in Crisis, if you don't give it the grace of going beyond it.
Yeah.
But there was more that Tom King was doing at the time. It wasn't just Heroes in Crisis, right? It was also Batman.
Yep.
And Batman was a big problem for DC. And we're going to talk about that in just a moment, but I want to hit some of these super chats that we got. Marco and Tyler, you guys want to take these, please?
Yeah, Marco, go first if you can.
Yeah, I pulled back from deep here. JetX with a $5. Thank you so much. It's hard to quantify the good Didio did for DC, which he undoubtedly did, but his decline post metal until his exit is almost entirely his fault. Dang.
And my thing only goes up to the common sense one. What's the next one, Marco?
There's two from Common Sense. 499. I saw a tweet mention. I saw a tweet mention 90s comics like Superboy, Supergirl, Impulse, Azrael, and Young Justice got canceled when Dan DiDio became editor. Coincidence? Probably not. Likely not.
I mean, I'll leave that to your mind, common sense, but you know,
Yeah.
sort of seems like common sense.
And then common sense also said, is that the next one, Marco? His next one?
Curse wheel?
No.
Oh, no. Then I have I have two more then before
Okay.
that one, Tyler.
All right, go ahead. Let's get those out of the way then. Yeah, I'll get to
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Also from Common Sense, 499. Last stream, I wanted to ask you, pals, about Curse Wheel from Absolute Batman. You wonder who will become the villain from Batman's Curse Wheel. I don't know that we were familiar. I think we did answer that at the time.
What is the curse wheel?
Yeah, I think that's what we said last time. It's apparently a backup in All Star Batman.
Oh, All-Star Batman, not Absolute.
No, All Star, All Star.
All-Star. Okay. Yeah, All-Star is out of my memory banks. I removed it to make room for other data.
Not on the RAM no more.
No, that's not how RAM works. Okay.
MP with the 5 spot. Your tinfoil hat theory on Doomsday Clock early solicit is my theory on why Batcat wedding fake out issue was overhyped to retailers and fans.
We're getting there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the Tyler is right one.
Yeah, that's
Tyler?
as far as I get. Okay, yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
common sense is Tyler is right. We can just end that super chat there. But it also says Dan Didio wrote Metal Men. That was his last comic before leaving DC. Kevin lost his OMAC powers sideways in the last issue. And Rami Darwish also saying for $5, I collected all single issues regarding Doomsday Clock at the time till I binged them on Thanksgiving 2019, given that I arrived in the States in January 2019. Man, you arrived in the States right on the cusp, a year early before shit went bad. Then Electrics with the 200 Krona, right?
Think so, yeah.
Right. And then a little Jeff Johns crossover there. Love these deep dives and wheel spins. P.S. Part 2 of JetX's Pals Community Rebirth deep dive will continue afterwards, live on Discord after the show. A fine chance to continue all Rebirth talks with other pals. That's just cool that that shit happened.
Dude, big shout outs. I love it. I love leaving the stream, coming back 3 hours to Discord and seeing there's like 15 people in chat and the chat counter says 3 hours and 15 minutes.
MP with the 5 spot says, I've heard the critique of Tom King that he is a story over character writer. He will radically alter established characters in order to fit the story. That's always been the thing on Tom King. I agree with it. It just doesn't bother me out of continuity stories. It bothers me greatly in continuity.
I think it also doesn't bother me on continuity if it's a character that doesn't matter. Like when he writes like Tygor from Omega Men, like I don't know who that is. It's carte blanche. Do whatever you want.
With characters you don't know.
Sure, but if there's a Tygor head out there that tells me it's way out of character, I'll listen to the Tygor head.
I believe the comics fans.
Common Sense also said for $4.99, don't forget about Booster Gold and get the gift from Batman. What are your opinions on Flash Wars and After, where Wallace found out he didn't exist pre-New 52? I don't know if I read that. Is that Williamson?
Flash
Yes,
Wars?
it is.
Yeah. I don't think I ever. There's a point of Williamson's Flash that I stopped.
I mean, I thought all that stuff was good, but like it's not top of mind for me, common sense, to like tell you my intimate details. Thoughts. Atomic Hound with a 1999. Thank you so much. Write the following on a sticky when you read a Tom King book. The characters here are based on characters that appear in other DC comics. Any actual resemblance or consistency with other appearances is entirely coincidental.
You're telling me Adam Strange isn't a war criminal in every Strange Adventures book?
Not all, believe it or not, not all of them.
And I know Atomic Hound wasn't pleased with I think it was Mr. Miracle that Atomic Hound wasn't pleased with the character
Oh,
depictions on. I mean, look, at some point, if enough people are saying the same thing about you, it's probably fucking true.
What, that he started the Iraq War?
Yes.
that exactly. J Sage, the £4.99, especially after Wonder Woman, I really think Tom King should write his own universe. That way, it's not so OOC.
Out of
Oh,
continuity.
out of continuity. Or out of character.
Or yeah, that
Morning Pals, love these deep dives. My rival.
could also mean out of coochie. Been OC for a while. Is there more? I'm scrolling, boys. I'm
There's one
scrolling. There
from
we go. There
Dex.
we go. Dex. He said, "Read my last ones." Which ones?
Yeah.
You
Did we
didn't
get
have
to
any
them?
last ones. What are you talking about? What are we supposed to read, brother?
He sent like 5 messages separately before that, but I can't scroll past it.
You gotta say what you want to say in the super chat, my man. You know how many people are here right now? We got over 120 people chilling with us talking, bro.
Yeah, that
Can't
chat
see that shit.
times out after a while.
Yeah.
Man, people are saying this fucking Mr. Miracle book is out of character. You telling me Darkseid don't like veggies?
No.
Or veggie trays.
Damn, he's more of a blue cheese, not a ranch guy.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, I see. That'll give.
While we're at it, why don't we throw a wheel spin out there?
Yeah, why not?
Was that you or was that
That was me.
Okay.
Yeah. Ooh, a revelation. Marco, did you say you had a revelation?
I did.
Yeah.
Much like Nightwing, I too caused a pileup on the highway. 1 year.
Oh no.
Oh,
What
1 year.
did you kill people, Marco?
No, I didn't kill people. Have I told
Oh,
you guys this?
God, I got fucking Matthew Broderick over here.
No. But when I was first learning to drive, with me and my dad, he would, he would more than my mom let me drive the car so I could practice. And one of the things that we would do is we would drive from where we lived and we would drive over to my grandma's house, 20-minute drive. And so I was on the, for anyone who's familiar, coming out of Flushing on the Whitestone Expressway, heading towards Northern Boulevard.
He had you go on the
And
Whitestone early on in your driving life?
yeah.
Okay.
But just for a hot second, because we were going local, because you have to go from Flushing, you have to cross over into Corona, right? And so
It's very
um,
local references,
very
right?
local references. But I'm driving. I'm maybe like I got my permit at that time, so we were practicing maybe 3 months earlier, right? So I'm not adept at this. I'm going relatively slow, and as I'm driving, I'm in the center lane, and uh, as I continue on, there's like a vantage point, like a hill, and I can't see past that hill. And when I get to the top of it, there's a mattress strewn out in the center of the lane. In the lane that I'm in, I panic. I could have swerved probably to the left or to the right, but I just didn't have the skill right at that time.
You have the skill to
To
turn right or left.
well, I'm in panic mode, and so I slam on the brake
Oh, God.
on the highway again, and this is coming up a hill too, right?
Yeah.
So the people behind the cars behind me, I hear "Err," nothing. Then one more "Err," nothing, and then "Err,"
Yeah.
I was like, and then we finally get hit, and we're just bouncing around in the car. I step out. We step outside. The last car was a van that had come in and hit 3 other cars behind me, and we got like a little love tap, right? So like my dad looks at the car. He's like, it's fine. The woman in behind, who got hit pretty bad, she's in shock. She's just like on the wheel, just like scared. My dad looks. He's like, all right, I think we're good. And then we dipped
What's the
because
statute of limitations on this?
I don't know, but our car was fine. Our car
That's
didn't,
not how that works.
nothing happened. There's a mattress on the road. That's it. I braked. That's it.
And you got out?
And then yeah.
There's
Then
so many wrong decisions made in the situation.
my dad was like, "All right, I'm gonna drive. Here, let's go."
And how much did your insurance go up? None. It wasn't reported, right?
What were we gonna report? There's a mattress on the road.
Patrick says LMAO pops a fucking real one. You're like, well, the lady can't talk behind me. Can't have a discussion with her.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, she has insurance, or her insurance went up because of your actions, Marco.
Probably.
She probably got injured. And maybe that insurance prevented her from driving going forward. So now she lost her job because she can't get to work. And because she
People
lost her
walk
job, she
out.
wasn't able to now feed her children, who now died of starvation. You killed kids. And
Much
you
like
laugh.
Nightwing.
Okay, you killed kids, followed by a fucking disgusting. Disgusting.
Wait, do it again, do it again. I caused a 4-car pileup.
Jeez.
All right. Thank you, Marco, for that revelation.
Admitting to probably a felony.
Nothing happened. To us.
Vehicular manslaughter.
No.
You actually
Marco's
don't
a
know if
fucking
anyone's dead. You
terrorist.
don't know if anyone's dead.
People came out of their cars and were like all angry and shit, and they're like, this fucking mattress. And then went back into their car.
Oh,
All right. So, before we jump it back into the Tom King bit, I just want to give a special shout out to our Pals vs. Legends, Starcross Catherine Stars, the Hound of Justice, Atomic Hound, the Spear of Judgment, Jay's Jumble, Safe Haven, Hayden's Hideout, Jesse and the Juggernaut, Kyle the Zenith, Panda v Panda, Ted Wong, Adam Solar Smith, Sam the Last Young Renegade, Blur Jekyll Jose, Entertain Me, Peter Living Lightning, Electrics, Just Unseen, Shalom, Paladin Warburg, Jamzilla, Cosm the Andric, and thank you to Pals vs. members Brian Demolisher Del Pozo, Kefis the Incorruptible, Momentum Mike Elliott, Dan the Truth Trudeau, Marley Manastorm, who I saw in the chat earlier. Good to see you, Marley. Slow Flow Dameron, Christian Uncaged, The Spear of Justice, Izzy's Issues, Robert Runback, Cashaback, Pete the Dreamweaver Collins, James Just Jamming Jones, Paul Powerhouse Smith, Neon Knight the Cosmic Avenger, BJ Kicks of Comics Are Dope, The Grand Alchemist, Shop Harder Alchemist, and John Barrier B. If you didn't hear your name and you're supposed to, you will later. All right, let's get back to Tom King. Now, Tom's run on Batman is divisive. There are people who love it. There are people who hate it. And I think the opinions about it generally are polarized in that way. Personally, I don't love it or hate it. I don't find it to be hateable, but I do find it to be frustrating. I read some of it for this. I couldn't get as much as I wanted, but I did read some of it for this. And it starts off so good.
And you've read it in its entirety, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tom King got 85 issues on the core main Batman title. And that's a lot. That is a tremendous amount. It was supposed to be 100 though. And Tom did not get there. Why? Well, there were some problems with the Tom King Batman run. There were several problems. And before we talk about sales, because sales were the biggest problem, let's talk about Tom King's behavior behind the scenes. So, the wedding of Batman and Catwoman that the whole book was building toward, this was the central main idea of the book. It's a romance story with the trappings of Gotham and superheroics in it. And Tom's vision for the proposal was that it should be a very, very, very big deal. And that it should have the greatest possible artist on it that they could get. So the issue in which Catwoman is proposed to by Batman is issue 24. And Clay Mann and Seth Mann drew the scenes that involve Batman and Gotham Girl. The other stuff, the proposal and stuff, were drawn by David Finch with Danny Mickey. But it wasn't supposed to be. At least not according to editor Mark Doyle. because Tom King and his editor had a big fight about this.
Oh,
Yep. Here's a quote directly from Tom himself. Batman 24, there are 2 editors listed for that book. We switched editors halfway through. It's not normal, it's very weird. I got in a big fight with my editor about it. An editor I love, Mark Doyle. He wanted to bring in an artist on it who had not worked on the book before. I knew it was this big moment, Batman proposing to Catwoman. You're going to turn on Twitter, it's going to be that stupid image. I want this to be an image with David. I want him to draw this issue. No, David's busy going on vacation. Just call him. We got in a big fight over it, and in the end, we switched editors and got David, and that's how we brought Jamie Rich on the book. That's something I could not do earlier in my career. Say, I'm putting my foot down. That's something you can only say when you've had a lot of success. When you first come in, you have no power at all. You're at the whim of your editors who are in control of whether you eat this day.
Damn, Tom King put his dick on the table for that.
That's a fairly antagonistic perspective to have on your relationship with editors, to say that they decide whether you eat or not this day. Especially when Tom King was the one who was able to get this editor removed from the book.
oh, I remember that.
They removed going forward.
Yes, yeah, that's right. It's like, yo, I don't drive with this guy. Huh.
Mark Doyle, also pretty decently regarded editor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's what Tom would say about Mark Doyle only a couple years later, when Mark Doyle left DC. The transcendent, brilliant, visionary editor, Mark Doyle, is leaving DC this week. I would not have a career without Mark. The same editor, he said, decides whether you eat or not. He gave me my first gig, my first ongoing, made me take insane risks on big stages. In every genre, he tirelessly pushed comics to be better. A true legend.
Yo, fake.
That's a nice remembrance, isn't it? Don't you think?
Oh, out of context, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, here's what another editor had to say about Tom King's lovely remembrance of the dearly departed. Tom Brevoort
Oh.
He threw his hat in the ring.
responded to Tom King's tweet. This is November of 2020, by the way. So this is the time when everybody was locked down and didn't have anything else to do but jump on social media. And
Hell yeah.
So Tom Brevoort had time today and said, didn't you force him off the Batman titles and then crow about it in an interview? It's a bit odious to cry over the bodies when you had a hand in killing them.
Yo.
Damn. He's still salty about only writing Vision at Marvel.
Yo, he said, fuck you and your tweet. That's crazy.
That's a
Hey,
wild
man.
thing. That's a wild thing just to be out there with.
Yeah.
Shit, Brevoort. Throwing hands.
Got game.
Nah, Tom is moving crazy. Which Tom? Which one?
My perspective is, this is an instance of an editor standing up for another editor.
Sure, that's how it
Sure,
is. Yeah.
yeah.
And I don't build my perspective on Tom King based on this. I actually love Tom King. He's a wonderful guy. But this doesn't seem great.
Yeah, it's not fair.
Great. Especially when you consider the fact that Batman, which is the most important DC comic by far every single month, it is impossible to overstate how important the sales of Batman are to DC. They build their line around their ability to sell Batman comics. So it was remarkable then in 2019 when Immortal Hulk outsold Batman.
Huh.
The April 2019 Diamond Comic distributor stats are out, and they make rather interesting reading, as well as Marvel Comics getting a 50% unit share. Immortal Hulk number 16 had higher orders than Batman 68 and 69.
Nice.
Since the New 52 reboot and relaunch, the twice monthly Batman book has been the old reliable at DC Comics, constantly topping the charts, only beaten by the occasional first issue launch, event comics miniseries like Secret Empire, Metal, or The Batman Who Laughs. For a regular issue of an ongoing series to top Batman is unheard of, until Immortal Hulk. Now, a couple things. Immortal Hulk 16 had a 1 in 25 tiered cover that proved very popular and may have driven stores to up their orders on the title. Batman has had, on this title. Batman has had a bit of a post non-marriage slump, and the current Nightmare storyline has not proved that popular, issue by issue at least. Now Batman dives heading into its much anticipated City of Bane storyline as part of DC's Year of the Villain. But it's an extraordinary achievement this day and age.
Damn, 50% market share? That's a crazy jump.
And I remember that Nightmare story. It's Nightmare with a K, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the Wonder Woman. Or no, that's with Catwoman, where they go into like some other desert. He's got like the desert suit on. Yeah, I remember not liking that.
Now, this is complicated.
Yeah.
Because there's no doubt that sales on Batman were not great at this time. And again, it's all relative. It's not great for Batman. Immortal Hulk should never outsell Batman. Hulk is not, in the modern era, one of DC's biggest or Marvel's biggest and best sellers.
Yeah.
So why did this happen? Well, it was a seminal run on the Hulk. So we have to be fair in that. This is the kind of run that comes around very infrequently in comics. So that's fair. But people were very angry with Tom King over what they felt was a rug pull in issue 50 of Batman.
Yep.
We were promised a marriage and we did not get one. They even put out save the dates. They put them as ads in their books. I think they may have been physical, but I don't recall 100%. I don't remember. But I know they put them in the books. Save the dates.
There were, I think, like postcard save the
Inserts?
dates, weren't they?
That's what I'm thinking. I remember.
I don't know if they were inserts as much as like the shop could just give them out, like throw it in your bag situation.
Oh, okay.
But like even I have the cover up. Like even the cover says the wedding on top. The what?
Lies.
Even I had a wedding. You know, like I mean, you know.
And everyone behind the scenes knew there was no wedding coming.
Yeah.
Everyone. And this is the part that's not Tom King's fault. This is the fault of marketing. Marketing got wind of the fact that there was a wedding coming, and marketing decided to push it as such in issue 50, not issue 100, where it was supposed to happen. Tom King has talked a lot about this recently, and we've read these quotes on the show, but I do want to give them again because they are relevant. Quote, "They were very much supposed to get married, and that was what was yanked away from me at the last second. I was obviously very mad, and I'm still mad to this day about how Batman 50 was marketed. They were never going to get married in 50, and the DC marketed it as if they were going to get married, and I didn't object to that because I was 2 years into comics and didn't realize you could object to marketing, and that broke a lot of people's hearts. I brought them together, and my plan was to have this complete, and it was ripped from me and ripped from fans."
Question. He can object to editors, but he can't object to marketing?
That's a great point. Oh, that's a great point. He could throw a fit about
Especially
that.
like even if you say, all right, I have 100 issues, right? And essentially this run at its core is kind of a romance book. That's the core of this run. It makes sense that issue 50 would be a rug pull. Think of any romance movie. It's the, will they, won't they situation, and something happens where it's going to like, they're going to profess their love for each other. And then something happens, right? Then they build it back up for the finale, which would be 100. So like that makes sense. But marketing deciding to be like, hey, this is the wedding issue, a la MJ and Peter, a la fucking North Star. That was a big one and astonishing, the first gay marriage. And those books sell well. It made Astonishing X-Men sell really well. So I can see the want from marketing to be like, hey, this is a extra sized anniversary wedding issue. But there should have been foresight to explicitly lie. And it's not like there's a wedding and then the wedding doesn't have, there's not even a wedding.
Oh, it's just to ask that. I'm like, but wasn't there like the depiction of a ceremony? I haven't read
There's a
this one.
dress and stuff, but I don't think the actual ceremony even happens.
Mm.
Catwoman runs away before we even get there.
Comic Boom Tube says Tom King is lying. He explicitly told fans on talk shows that they would get married. He is rewriting reality. Yes and no. Yes, he did say they would get married. But did he say it would happen in issue 50?
Yeah.
That's the problem. And Tyler's point about why didn't Tom King argue with marketing about this is a good one. And it's one that Scott Snyder chided Tom for in the aftermath.
Mm.
But why was Tom King resistant to fight marketing on this issue? Well, in my opinion, it probably says something about how Tom King sees editors and their role on a book versus marketing's role in a book. I'm not making a value judgment, but I think that might be what we were seeing in the moment.
You're connecting the
Because
dots.
yeah, it's not the last time that Tom King would have a hand in harming someone's career. The same thing happened with Jay Lee. When Tom King tried to say on social media that Jay Lee was in league with MAGA or
Oh,
Comicsgate.
Comicsgate. Yes, that's
Oh,
right.
what? I don't remember
And
this.
it wasn't true.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot because
Damn.
wasn't there like he did a variant or like he said he wouldn't shy away from something?
I think he may have done a variant and he didn't know he's not an online guy and he didn't know any better. It may have been I don't have it in front of me because I wasn't prepared to talk about this, but it may have been an EVS project. I don't want to say
Sure.
I'm not saying anything for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I'll see if I could look around in the background.
I think it was like a
I-
variant for a Kickstarter or something like that, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't like he was deeply involved.
Yeah.
And Tom King called him out and put the eyes of us on him when it wasn't fair. And when Tom apologized, Jay wasn't exactly too keen on accepting it, from what I recall. Yeah, MP says, if I remember correctly, Jay Lee and his wife were mourning their dog when King was attacking him online.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Double
That's
whammy.
right. And I'm looking back at some of the chatter. It looks like EVS had claimed Jay was part of Comicsgate.
Our
and-
guy situation.
Yeah, exactly. He's one of our.
Yeah,
but
the
apparently he
fucking
did the
EVS
same.
does that with everyone.
I was about to say apparently he did that with like Darwin Cook and others. So
Yeah, if they can't be there to defend themselves, whether because they're dead or just not on social media, EVS will gladly say that's our guy.
right.
Did it
yeah.
recently too with somebody. I forget who. Yeah, EVS can fucking eat shit.
Tom King's run on Batman was maligned by readers. Some of it is unfair. The wedding problem is a DC marketing problem. That is not Tom's fault. We can't blame him for that. And his run got the legs cut out from under it ultimately because the sales on it were poor. They weren't happy. DC's brass wasn't happy with what they were getting. In fact, Bleeding Cool reports that Bob Harris specifically did not like it. Quote, Bleeding Cool understands that the decision was made and enacted last Friday at MegaCon Orlando, where Tom King was a guest, which just passed, ironically.
Yep.
It's happening
No,
now
that's
at
right.
MegaCon Orlando.
Yeah.
Chris
actively,
is there
yeah.
doing fucking panels. Shout out.
Which had a strong DC Bat presence, but it was kept a secret from many people who thought they would have been included or at least notified about the news, including the colleagues of Tom. The original plan was to brief people this week. But why? Well, first, despite some people's spin, this was very much not Tom King's decision. More than anything, I am told that significantly senior people at DC Comics simply did not like Tom King's Batman run, even as it was gathering Eisner nominations. DC editor-in-chief Bob Harris especially had a particular dislike of the run. But like or dislike is not enough to derail such a project. The decision was justified by a softening of Batman sales of late. But some places, like ComicsBeat again, reported that sales on Batman dipped to 86,000. They are wrong. Sales have never dipped anywhere near that low. But they were not at the 110, 130,000
Mm.
that has been more common for the title. The arc in which Batman is wrapped in a series of nightmares did not go over as well with the regular audience. And there has also been a softening since the much hyped by DC wedding of Batman and Catwoman turned out not to be a wedding. This may have been more of an error on marketing than in storytelling, promising what was not in the story's power to give. I understand that Heroes in Crisis, also not performing sales wise as strongly as hoped, may have also been a contributing factor in the decision as well.
Huh. So it's possible that Tom King's two biggest in continuity stories, you can argue Supergirl on Tomorrow and stuff like that. It's kind of its own side thing. But like
Mhm.
in mainline continuity, Batman and Heroes of Crisis could have failed due to issues outside of his control.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Damn, he needs to be putting that hog on the table a little more then. Jeez. And maybe that's
Well,
why he
with
does what he does now. You know, those 12 issue maxis. Because it's
And
like, hey,
only the
fuck, you know, any kind of interference here. What are you going to interfere with Jenny Sparks for?
he was doing them then, that's always been a part of Tom's bag, but um in continuity stuff has always been problematic for Tom in the sense that people love it or hate it.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it now with Wonder Woman. So
Mhm.
the tide
Sure.
hasn't really turned. It's
Sure.
still the same thing. And I don't know the degree to which editorial meddling had an impact on Heroes in Crisis. I suspect for myself, I couldn't have liked it no matter what happened. The Wally, it wasn't the problem for me. Um, Batman feels like it could have gone a different way. And that's unfortunate.
I also like how it's declining in sales before we even get to the Alfred of it all,
Mm.
which then it's like the fans just turned.
Well, since you brought it up, the Alfred of it all is another massive sticking point
Yeah.
for readers. That Alfred was killed during this run. But it was never intended to stick. It wasn't intended to stick in the first place. Here's a direct quote from Alfred. From Alfred.
From Alfred. Here's his quote, crack.
Excuse me, from Tom King. It was entirely supposed to be a fake out. If you look closely at the issue, you can see it was supposed to be Scarecrow gas. Damien saw his worst fear, which was Alfred dying. That was it. It was 100% supposed to be a fake out death. And then the issue came out, and people were like, I want to see where this goes. What's going on? And the day it came out, I got a call from Dan Didio, and he's
Oh.
like, okay, Alfred's dead. Like he went online and saw the comments and he's like, I want him to be dead. He's dead. And I was like, well, no, because Alfred can't go out like that. That's a stupid way for Alfred to go out. If I was going to kill Alfred, I would do a whole big thing. And so my editor, Jamie Rich, and I got on the phone. I took my dog for a walk and we talked and talked and talked until we could figure out how is sitting there a sacrifice. And then so it became how he sort of sacrificed himself to save Batman in that moment. And then once it was a sacrifice, then it could be done.
Mm. Mm.
I don't know. I mean, it is trying to find. It does feel like trying to fit a round peg into a square hole. Like I think the image of Bane snapping Alfred's neck, iconic, whether you like it or not. That's an iconic page. But yes, Alfred is just sitting there. It's not some grand heroic sacrifice. He's fridged essentially, and I guess trying to find how they unfridge him after being fridged is the trick. And I'm not even sure how they do it, even though I read it.
It's interesting that, you know, it looks like for all the meddling that Didio was doing, he looked at the online conversation and said, actually, this is generating enough buzz, good or bad, that this should be the status quo.
Brevoort
Go,
method.
yeah, yeah, exactly, right?
The everybody method.
Yeah.
I have to point that out because I don't want Tom Brevoort to be the target of that. This is common.
Yeah.
They all do this.
This is
Yeah.
why
And what I'm referring to specifically is what they all do is go with what's hot. Go with what people are interested in, whether they're saying negative things or positive things.
Right, right. What is driving conversation? This has some buzz on it. You know what? Let's lean in.
Yeah.
which for a creative, I feel like that's tough. Because that reaction and adjusting your story to that seems incongruous because the production of a comic book is long
Right.
relative to the immediate reactions to reading the book.
Oh, I see. So you're saying because of that, he would have had been brought back in the next issue, but because that's now mandate, he's not. Script has to change, direction has to
Or
change.
whether or not it's the next issue, but he does have to then change his story that has probably already been scripted to a certain extent.
Hmm. It's also Alfred. Like, yes,
Whoa, no, you don't get to go there.
no,
Fucking book bender over here.
in that he in that he's, integral to the personality of Batman, but it's a Batman story, and the other characters there being secondary to that.
That's what the fridging is about. Yeah, like his death is not his story, it's to further someone else's.
Yeah. And it's a retroactive one because again, that wasn't
Yep.
what was supposed to happen.
Right.
And so I have a lot of sympathy for a creator who has a specific plan in place and then is forced to pivot and then gets hate for that.
Twice.
Yeah. Like I felt when I read that like, yo, what the fuck are you doing, Tom King? Like why are you doing this? I don't
Yeah.
want Alfred dead.
Yeah.
And I had heat for Tom. But it's like, no, I wasn't trying to do that.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Right.
It's not my fault.
So whose
Man,
fault does it
and
become?
then like the majority of readers still don't know this.
Right.
You know, so they
Exactly.
probably still fucking hate this writer for killing their uncle, essentially.
A few thousand people will hear this conversation and hopefully we'll get to this part and will know what we're saying. But you're right. The majority of people who have this opinion will never know that Tom King was meddled with.
Damn, victim.
He is a
Much
victim of the meddler.
much like Wally West.
A victim of the meddler.
Much like Jeff Johns.
Man, we got a writer in crisis over here. Jeez.
And what did Dan want? All this meddling, what did he want? He wanted a new age of heroes. He wanted to get to a place where they could tell stories with new characters that would be exciting and fresh and fun. And he wanted to use metal as a springboard to get to that. Now, Scott Snyder on his Substack this past Wednesday talked about how little sense that made to him. How he is trying to do what Jeff Johns was in line with, by the way. He didn't explicitly say this, but I'm extrapolating, which was honor the legacy of DC through metal. Metal is all about sort of celebrating these characters and all the different iterations of them and the possibilities of them. And if you look at what comes out of the Forge, what comes out of the Forge but these dark versions of Batman? It's almost like the Forge represents the creative pool in DC, which is fucking toxified by a meddler who keeps pumping out darkness and evil shit that metal says no to, just like Doomsday Clock says no to. But Dan Didio wanted metal to lead into the new age of heroes, and it did do that. He got his way. In 2016, we got that Dark Matter line. And then that became the New Age of Heroes in 2018, and it only lasted 2 years. And it had the series Damage. It had the Silencer. These are all new characters. Well, except for the Terrifics, I guess.
The new team, though. Yeah.
Yeah, new team. And that was a good book that a lot of people enjoy. Great creative team. Jeff Lemire, Ivan Reis. Jeez.
Oh.
I'll be honest. I loved a lot of these New Age of Heroes books. Even Sideways, which is the Dan Didio creation. I thought Silencer was great. That was Abnett and Ramita. And this was like my first time seeing Ramita at DC in a long time. And I thought that was fucking kick-ass because it kind of felt like kick-ass that Ramita did. Terrific is one of my favorite books of all time. And one thing I noticed as I'm bringing up these images, that the books, they list the artist first, then the writer. So it was very art forward. Rocafort on Sideways, Ramita, even Rice. There's some big artists on these books. Was it Tony Daniel on Damage?
So yeah,
Yeah.
Damage was Tony Daniel on the words, or I'm sorry, on the art.
Yeah.
The words were Robert Venditti.
And
Wow.
but plot wise, tying it into Metal made no fucking sense. Like Sideways' origin is that he gets these powers because Metal, I guess, ruined Gotham and like the world opened up, and like he lost like his parent in there or something, and he gained powers. But yeah, the premise for them sucked. The actual execution I did enjoy.
I remember these books.
I think that Dan's idea is great. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to do this. I think it produced good comics. And I think that, having an eye to the future is a great thing to do.
Yes, agreed.
We're seeing it now in a way with DC, where Next Level is not putting the spotlight on new characters, but characters who haven't really been in the mix as much recently. Great. No problem with that. The problem with this is the fact that it is in stark contrast to what feels like the creative direction of DC. Scott Snyder talked about this directly on his Substack. He said that when you're the writer and you have a creative vision, you need to hold on to it like a steering wheel. You're driving the car. There's traffic. It's going to make you turn. It's going to make you move. Don't be like Marco and just fucking press the brake on the highway. Don't stop to pick up a baddie like Nightwing.
Oh, agreed.
You got to drive. And Scott Snyder was driving. Jeff was driving, but Jeff got knocked off the fucking road.
Damn.
His metal is twisted.
He got hit with the blue shell.
Yeah. He's back there. He's in 12th place.
Damn.
Spinning out like yo. She's like,
Scott Snyder's trying to drive, but the meddler's behind him in his ice cream truck with his clown costume on, with fire coming out of that motherfucker.
Wait, okay. Scott Snyder's playing Mario Kart and Didio's playing Twisted Metal?
Hell yeah, he is.
Throwing green shells.
So the problem isn't the idea, the problem is the timing. If DC has a plan, if Rebirth is what we're doing, do Rebirth.
Yeah.
But that's not what we did. What we did was New Age of Heroes. And like we said, the books were solid. Arguably, some of them were great. Shit, the Terrifics got 30 issues.
Yeah, there's an omnibus that just came out, a compendium that just came out within this year.
Damn. I remember that Damage book, hearing good things about it.
What, all 9 issues?
It was like 20, right?
Damage got 16 issues.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Which is a lot in 2026, actually. I was going to say, like, these books didn't really last long in my eyes. Like, when what is it? The unknown, the unexpected.
Immortal?
They lasted varying lengths.
Yeah.
New Challengers got 6 issues. The Unexpected got 8. Immortal Men got 6. That was James Tynion and Jim Lee, by the way.
Yeah.
Damn.
But this era didn't last very long.
Yeah.
And it couldn't. The sales didn't justify it. And it is according to Bleeding Cool, but it's also just a fact. these artists who were probably at least as much of a draw as the writers got headhunted for other projects.
Hmm.
So once they lost these artists, it's like, well, shit, that was the whole idea here. What do we do?
Yeah.
So Didio's new Age of Heroes got crushed, got knocked off the road, got hit with a shell. But Dan Didio himself wasn't done. Well, fucking done. He's not gonna quit. Tried it with New 52, tried it with New Age of Heroes. He's got one more shot at bat. And you guys know exactly what I'm talking about.
Do I?
All roads lead to 5G.
Dun dun.
5G in all the studies, LA Times causes massive mutation and cancer.
It does, dude.
Oh, and Bendis came.
I'm gonna come.
Interesting. Yeah.
I think-
Okay. Yeah.
Bendis has come.
I think this is a good place to leave it. I did plan on talking about Bendis this week, but we can save that for the finale of the DC Rebirth Deep Dive Part 4
Yeah.
next Saturday.
Let's make a thumbnail that just says Bendis came. And the image of him going like this, you know that one?
Yeah, I know the picture you're talking about. How we feeling, chat? We got over 120 people here with us. You fucking with us right now? Talk to me. I'm exhausted, guys. I was up late. I'm talking a lot. Talk to me. Talk back.
Want to go through some of these super chats while Sean recoups?
Yeah.
Let's see. Last one I got was shout out to Clayton Bergstrom for being a member for 5 months at the sidekick tier. Thank you so much. MP with the 5. King's Batcat saga could have been told in 8 to 10
Saga?
issues. Mike Barr and Jerry Bigham accomplished most of the same story beats in Son of the Demon in 80 pages.
Of course, the dangler pronounces saga. He's saga-ing in his pants.
Hey.
I can read MP with 13 months as a Comic Spell sidekick. He said, "What about Rick Grayson? That came out of King's baby mama." Oh, Batman. Sorry, BM. Did that come out of? Did King do that, Sean?
I'm sorry. What?
Did King do the Rick Grayson? I don't think King did the Rick Grayson, right? Did he?
I think
shoot Nightwing?
yeah, it was. Yeah, it was him. He was on Nightwing at that time. Absolutely.
Oh, yes,
Which
that's
and
which
he
right.
was-
then makes me sound like even more meddling, because who fucking hates Dick Grayson?
It's not even a guess. It's a
Yeah.
fact. It's a fact that Dan Didio made that happen. So and I'm glad you brought that up, and it's my mistake for not tying this together better. Tom King was a puppet.
For his whole Batman run, it seems.
And yes, and the Nightwing run. Tom King did not have the agency,
Oh, Grayson. Yeah.
to say no to Dan. He didn't. Clearly not.
Yeah.
No leverage there.
Damn.
Common sense for the 4.99. It's really ironic because you know how Aunt May's death in the 90s was supposed to be real, but retcon to be a fake out. Now compare this with Alfred.
They didn't have instant feedback in the 90s.
Yeah. So at the time we couldn't be like, yeah, let's not.
I
keep it
wonder
around.
I wonder if they had instant feedback and they would see how fervent the fan base was, that maybe they would have kept that.
They did have instant feedback. Everybody
Letters.
everybody was using the forums on the internet in the 90s. I've seen countless conversations using the Wayback Machine to see what people were saying about all this stuff. The forums were a big part of the comic book scene in the 90s.
Oh, this is 95 though. 95, I don't think we really had forums.
When we did the Twilight of the Superheroes deep dive, I told you about a lot of the conversation that developed about that on forums. That we wouldn't even know about that if it wasn't for forums. In fact,
Yeah.
it was initially posted on forums. I'm 100% sure.
Last super chat here from Common Sense as well, 499. Thank you. Scott Snyder's new challenges was supposed to be an ongoing, but made to a mini. Aaron Lepresti's writer of Damage says, the new Age of Heroes set to fail.
Hmm.
Aaron Lepresti, was he the writer?
If Tony Daniel was the artist.
I thought it was Vendetti.
He's the writer, bro.
Oh.
Oh man, I love doing these. This is fun. This is fun. And we've got a lot more show to do. We are not done. We are not done by far. Rebirth is the subject of this whole month for us in our channel. And we're going to end it on the 31st of March with a deep dive based on Rebirth. You guys had the opportunity to vote over on patreon.com/thecomics one of the many perks we offer. And you voted by far for Super Sons. By far. So that's what it is. We're going to read Super Sons.
All right. Appropriate
yeah.
based on what happened in Superman Unlimited this week too.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Have you guys read this before?
No.
Interesting. Okay. It's good. From what I remember, I have not read it since it came out.
I'm trying to read through Bendis's run to get to the part where he ages up John, just because like I need to see that happen
with Jor-El.
Yeah.
Wait, are you putting yourself through Rogozal again?
Oh, you don't know my night, Tyler. My night last night was torturous.
Bro was reading Death of Alfred and Rogozal and Heroes in Crisis at the same time.
Yeah.
Damn,
yeah.
Just commit seppuku at that point. Jeez.
I read Action Comics 1000, which was good, but like, you know, there's a lot going on in that. I read his debut on Superman. I read Man of Steel. I read his debut on Action Comics. I'm deep into the fucking Bendis part of this.
Anytime I think of Bendis as Superman, I just think of Romita's Gorilla Grodd.
I think of, go ahead.
Like he looks like a fucking Monchichi.
Yeah. Yeah. Wasn't great. Wasn't great. I can't wait to hear chat's recollections on the Bendis era of DC next week. Not this week, next week. So we will be doing the Super Sons book club on the 31st of March. Can't wait for that. I saw Atomic Hound ask earlier about sponsoring a book club. You guys should know there is a pinned comment which features our PayPal link. That is the way to sponsor a book club. Talk to us before you do it so we can figure out the particulars and the comics bucks amount we need. But otherwise, that's the way to make that happen.
Yeah, so Hound, message us. We can talk about it.
For Super Sons, we're reading that whole arc, so through issue 16.
How long is it? Is that all there is?
The 2017 run is 16 and an annual.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we could do the annual too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, you have the soup or the Sons? I'll have the soup.
Kurt Wildshut says John Kent sucked as a kid and he's barely better now. Sheesh.
Fuck them kids, is what he said.
Wow. Harsh.
I know Tevia's hyped for this, I bet. Tevia's been talking about fucking John Kent since he first showed him. That might have been his first comment.
Oh, yeah, he's a shooter.
He's every other comment is for this.
Yep.
Yo, why JRJR's Gorilla Grodd look like Bigfoot?
It's
probably what his inspiration was.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh, I'd love JRJR too, but man, we'll get to it next week.
Clayton Bergstrom says Sean will read the good, the bad, and the ugly for us, and that doesn't get recognized enough. I am here for you.
He suffers.
And like, it's not a joke. I did suffer reading Heroes in Crisis. That's not a joke. It felt awful to do, but I needed to do it again because I needed to have the energy to come here and tell you what I think about it. I actually shaved stuff off because I don't want to argue with Tyler about it, but I had a lot more notes about how much I don't like that story and every fucking thing it did wrong in my mind. But there are other channels that you can go to watch that kind of thing, I guess.
I'm imagining you flipping each page and just taking ticking damage. Like it's like hit marker sound effects happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, yeah, it was hard. It was hard.
Flashes red for a second.
Fuck, man. And 9 issues of that shit too.
Hot damn.
Yeah. But in addition to our book club, we're also this month telling you our top 5 DC Rebirth series. And today we're going to talk to you about our number 2 favorite Rebirth books.
Yo, I was racking my brain for something other than Doomsday Clock, and 3 Jokers for anything else that I might have been reading of that. And
None of them are ongoing titles.
well, and I remember as people were coming back into the fold of Rebirth, it's bringing everybody back. It's excluding me because I'm like, what is all this shit? So I realized that I was reading all of Young Animal. I was reading all of the Sandman stuff that was coming out, but in particular, I was reading Scooby Doo Apocalypse.
Tyler, what do
Doesn't
you
count.
say about
Doesn't
that?
count.
Yeah.
No, that's Hanna-Barbera.
Bro,
Come
Also
on
before
now.
Rebirth.
Yeah, come on, bro.
That's pre-birth.
no, it was post.
It's not. Rebirth is for the superheroes, Marco.
I know, dude, but I honestly read like maybe 1 issue of anything
All
else. of
right,
this.
All right,
all right.
we'll let it.
Talk
We'll
about it.
Marco Claus.
Pardon my ignorance at the time.
Which means your number 1 is also going to suck. So
No, my number 1's a good one.
All
It's
right.
not also not a rebirth, but it's a good one.
Gavin
I
says,
promise you.
Do you want to say anything about it, or
Yeah,
Oh, dude, I thoroughly enjoyed Scooby Doo Apocalypse. It was at the time, Jim Lee was doing some of the covers, and so that was kind of my I was like, oh, that's rad. Like this is an awesome interpretation. I've always wanted a kind of aged up version of Scooby Doo, and that's sort of what I was getting in this. Keith Giffen, James DeMatteis, which I stuck around because they had been doing the Justice League Dark run prior to this for New 52. They then transitioned over to this right at the start of the Rebirth era. And on pencils, man, there you had Howard Porter, Dale Eaglesham, huge names, really, really good stuff.
Jim Lee covers too, right?
Yeah, Jim Lee covers, Alex Sinclair on colors, like I thought excellent story that lasted 37 issues. It was real good.
Marco says, "Hey, my second favorite comic," and just looks into the camera.
How about you, Tyler?
My number 2 is Green Arrow Rebirth. It's written by Ben Percy with art flip-flopping between Otto Schmidt and Juan Ferreira. Which this is probably my second time seeing Ferreira's art. First one being on a Killmonger book that he did way back when. It was like, I think, right around the time the first Black Panther movie came out. Say what you will about Otto Schmidt, who might have collaborated with the Kremlin. Just saying. There's allegations on Otto Schmidt being doing propaganda art for Russia. He's Russian, I will say, but working with the government on propaganda art. So that ain't good. That ain't great. But his art on Green Arrow is phenomenal. And Ben Percy kind of really solidifies Ollie's supporting cast here. We get a return of Red Arrow, but more in line with the Arrow show. I forget her name at the time, but it's the female Red Arrow, one of them, and it's just damn good. It's like a tour de force with art. Otto Schmidt, who also did DC versus DC Vampires, which I think is also great. Did great work on that. But then when Ron Ferreira gets on the book, man, it is just gorgeous. Just think of like what he's been doing on, Ninja Turtles actually is probably a good, reference point, because Ollie is also doing a lot of these cityscape stuff, grappling from one building to another with his bow and arrow and stuff. But this is the book that made me like Green Arrow, actually. Green Arrow Rebirth was my jumping on point. You talk about jumping on and jumping off points. I'd always wanted to like Green Arrow. I liked the Arrow show for a majority of it, but I'd never really gotten into the comics. New 52 Green Arrow did nothing for me. Jeff Lemire's sort of did with was it year 1, I believe. But I never fully got into it. But this one got me into it, and I've read every single Green Arrow run since.
Wow. A lot of people said I should go back and read this. If I have the time, I'll try to. But I've heard a lot of good praise. My number 2 is my number 1 for ongoing series at the time. That's Wonder Woman. The Nicola Scott, Liam Sharp, Greg Rucka Wonder Woman run is the best example of how a creative team could use the trappings of Rebirth, which were bi-monthly shipped books, which is very hard to navigate and do, and necessitated, in this case, 2 different artists. And Greg Rucka's idea was to have the different artists drawing different periods in Diana's life. And I thought that was a brilliant turn. It's a reimagining of characters like Cheetah and her relationship to Diana. We get a lot of Veronica Cale here. This is not her debut, but this is where Rucka really adds to her character and redoes her origin to make her a much more interesting, complex character. There's so much great stuff here. For me, this is my favorite Wonder Woman run of all time that I've read so far. I have a hard time believing that'll change. This is where it started for me being a lover of Wonder Woman, like recognizing, oh my God, like I'm in love with this character, what she can be and what she can represent.
I never read it. I was kind of hoping it would win the book club, so I can finally get to it. But no, this is a blind spot for me. I never got to it.
We've read it in the past, but it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually recently reread it, and it stands. It stands. It's great. So, yeah, Mothman, DC isn't intentionally double shipping anything. They've had delays that have like led to double ship situations, but no books that they are intentionally double shipping, to my knowledge. So they're in a good spot. We know that. And next week we are going to address the elephant in the room, which is what lessons did DC learn from Rebirth for Absolute? Which I think the lessons are numerous, quite frankly. Did you guys read the super chats that we got? Yeah, you guys did. Yeah, Common Sense is.
I think we're up to
here.
date.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
We do, however, owe a couple wheel spins. So why don't we bust one of those out?
Busted. We already did Revelation. Do you want to? Yeah, anyone got another one, or
just spin it again?
Let's read it. Okay, we're gonna do the new one.
Sick.
If I remember where
Did we even get to play this?
Not yet.
There, hold on, what's that?
Gotta grab it.
All right, it's a Marvel themed game because it's a little board game I have from Marvel, where I'm gonna pull a character out, and you know what? I'm gonna give this Sean this time because Marco played something similar last time, where you have to give me 10 questions that I will answer to pick and then either before or by 10 you got to tell me who the character is.
Lovely. I love this.
All right, I'm gonna randomly pull a card. Perfect. All right, it's a Marvel character that will start there.
Okay. And the questions have to be
yes or no.
Yes or no. Okay.
Yep.
Is the character male?
Yes.
Is the character a mutant?
No.
Is the character street level?
No.
Are the character's powers based on an animal?
No.
Is a defining color of the character's costume blue?
No.
Is the character a hero?
Yes. You're on 6 now. That was your 6th.
Thank you. Does the character currently have an ongoing series at Marvel?
Are you asking in the sense that like the title of the book is them?
Yeah.
No.
Good to know.
Maybe the clarifier also helps there.
Yeah. Is the character cosmic?
No.
Hmm.
Is the character white?
Yes.
That's a wasted question.
Not necessarily, but yes. Very much so. Yeah, one more question. And if you don't get it right, I'll let Marco answer based on your questions.
Was the character this feels does the character use guns?
Yes.
Is the character no? Is the character this is the guess.
Sure.
Uses guns, not cosmic, not street level. What the fuck?
Not a mutant.
Not a mutant.
Not all mutants use guns.
Yeah.
And I'll have you say it's from this like thing here. So there's gonna be it's gonna be like not a deep cut. There's only about 30 cards of heroes and villains in here. So like
Rocket Raccoon's cosmic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess Punisher. It's obviously wrong, but
no, incorrect.
Yeah.
Marco.
Is it Hulk?
Oh yeah, Hulk uses guns.
Notably the gun-toting
Yeah.
Incredible Hulk.
Red Hulk, yeah. No, it's not. Do you want one more guess, or you want me to just reveal? Or do you want a clue?
Give us a clue.
Yeah.
Prominent in the MCU.
Star-Lord.
That would be cosmic.
That's cosmic.
Fucking shit, you're right.
Uses guns, prominent, not a mutant, so it can't be Deadpool.
Well, I would say most MCU characters, not a mutant at this point.
Oh. Is it Winter Soldier?
Boom.
Nice.
I didn't think about the street level because like it's espionage, but it's not really street, you know?
Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Because that wouldn't be like Cap, for example.
I don't consider Cap street level.
Right.
Me neither. I could see someone making the argument, but I don't look at him like that.
Yeah.
Oh, Iron Man could have been a good one, I guess.
He don't use guns. When have you ever seen him just bust the Uzi out?
Yeah, no, that's War Machine. War Machine has the shoulder guns.
Perry Plo says, great show. You rock. You rock. Thank you for being here with us. We appreciate you and everybody else who is rocking with us right now. Over 110 of you still chilling with us 2 hours deep with a deep dive over. That means you're here for us. You could be anywhere else in the world right now, and you're here with me and Marco and Tyler, and we so appreciate it.
That's like a packed panel room at a con.
Yeah, dude.
It is.
That's crazy.
We should run a panel one day.
No, man. Fucking our boy Captain Chris did.
Congrats to him.
Yeah. Big shout out. That's awesome, dude. We'll play that game again, you know, when the wheel dictates.
Yeah.
DC is gearing up for its summer event. They are not going to take the summer off during the Armageddon that Marvel is bringing us. In fact, DC is going all in with the event Dream Girls. Justice League Dream Girls is coming from Nicole Maines, who, of course, we know from the recent Secret Six book. Jadzia Axelrod will also be writing this. And from an art standpoint, you can expect to see Nicola Scott, Jay Bone, Brandt and Stein, Ted Brandt and Rose Stein, two old school favorites of ours. They haven't been on this show in many years, but we used to love them. Steven Sadowski, Vincent Cecil, Mikkel Jenin, and Rosie Campe. Quote, the story begins in the aftermath of Justice League Intergalactic Special, where Dreamer and Galaxy suddenly awaken on Themyscira, living out an idyllic fantasy as princess and champion of the Amazons. Their confusion deepens when a mysterious stranger washes ashore, insisting that Dreamer must leave the paradise she's always dreamed of to save the world. And the dreamlike landscape around them begins to shift in ways that feel both familiar and terrifying.
Huh. Uh, I want to see more of Dreamer. I'm not following the other series where she's prominent in, and of the interactions
What
I've
other
had.
series?
Like I said, it's not
There's
running.
none anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say. So I think having more exposure to the character would be. It's just cool to see. It's one of the newer ones, and that has transitioned over from other media. So to I think back the popularity, it's a good thing. And the premise sounds interesting. Living this out in like this kind of torn fantasy. So I'm down for this.
And this spins out of what their plans for Pride are in June.
Yeah.
Because both Nicole Maines and Jessica Axelrod are trans writers.
Hmm.
So you're having two prominent trans writers on a book to spin out of a Pride one shot. Oh look, their quarterly identity book actually has plans afterwards. Huh. Couldn't do that last month, huh? But but it is cool to see. Like I do like Nicole Maines writing. And I've warmed up to Sleeper as a character. So it's cool to see them do that and actually have some follow through with it, with actually good creatives too. And also they're going to be going up against the Key, which was a great villain in Morrison's JLA or JLU. What is Morrison's JLA?
JLA, yeah.
Yeah. Who's like a creepy ass character. So I'm Nicole Maines on here, cool characters, interesting story that's kind of siloed in its own little world. I'm down for this.
There is also going to be 8-page, tie-in stories that are going to feature a Batwoman story that's going to be by Greg Rucka and Claire Rowe, so that's pretty cool.
Oh,
A Green Lantern Corps story by Morgan Hampton and Stephen Underwood. Poison Ivy's getting a spotlight by Jewella Wilson and Maria Lovett.
oh wow.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
And then there's going to be a personal story, it says,
Huh.
by writer-artist Klaus Janson
Oh,
in the 4th issue of this book, which is the final one. Now, I don't know why, but my summation is that Klaus is going to make some kind of statement about his identity
yeah.
in this.
Interesting. Klaus Janson, a veteran of the comic book industry.
Oh, yeah. Had a hand in some of the greatest comics ever made.
Probably one of the most unsung heroes in comics.
I completely agree with that.
I mean, if you're gonna reveal something about yourself, do it in your art. And if that's I don't want solicits on someone's coming out, you know what I mean? But that's daring and cool for DC to do. I mean, and the Green Lantern one sounds like it might be about Joe as well, who I believe
I'd
is
guess.
queer.
Yeah.
I know she is in Absolute. I always forget her status in mainline.
They in Far Sector, I think they kind of like it's she's there's
bi.
yeah.
She's bi. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's bi and she's down with aliens. So
I mean, if you're a Green Lantern, you've got to be bi, right? You got to be pan at that point. You got all these different things
Word.
out there, right?
I don't know, man. Hal seems pretty
Yeah,
Hal and
fucking
Guy.
boring, vanilla ass fucking Hal Jordan. That's why I fuck with Johnny Storm. He'll be like, yeah, I'll try it.
I was just about to say.
Mono hole, let's go. Hole's a goal.
It looks like I found an older article, 2017, from Rich Johnson, about talking about sacred creatures. It's an Image comic, and apparently in this, the two creators are Pablo Raimondi and Klaus Janson, and both gay men working in the industry. I didn't know that about
Wow.
Klaus. So
did not know
Maybe
that.
it's a lesser known thing.
yeah,
But yeah,
Okay.
somebody who Corwell should mention, Kevin Conroy did an autobio story in DC Pride where he kind of came out as well.
Mm.
Or the open secret was no longer a secret.
Sure.
So I think that's actually really cool to see in a DC comic if they're going to celebrate Pride. Like they're like, fuck the superheroes. Let's tell an actual story. I think that's rad.
Yeah.
And all this is coming from solicits that we got. DC and Marvel have both pushed out their solicits for June, so we know things that are coming up. And one of the things that we know is coming up on the side of DC for this summer is Supergirl. Summer of Supergirl is a one shot that DC is going to be pushing out that's going to focus on the character who will have a film coming out this year. And Lobo, given that he's in the film, will also be in the comic. Who would have thunk it? This is going to feature stories from Sophie Campbell and Belen Ortega, Mark Waid and Cian Tormey, Gail Simone and Emma Kubert.
Oh.
48-page one shot in June the 24th, with the film out on the 26th.
Look at that.
Wow.
Right
That's
in time.
fucking timely.
And
What, they
another,
planned this?
yeah, for real. Another trans writer on the comic with Sophie Campbell.
Right.
So and she's writing the Supergirl comic currently, which I think is wonderful. It's a hidden gem for me that I hope more people get exposed to. But the Summer of Superman was like that also, that jam piece last year, right?
Yes.
Kind of leading up to the idea of what those books will spinning out can be. That's where Sophie's Supergirl started, was in that, I believe. And based on the cover, it looks like we might get 4 distinct stories. That's kind of how the cover, like these creative teams might be tackling separate characters in this jam piece. Maybe a through line between it.
Well, DC gives more information here. Quote, in the lead story by Sophie Campbell and Belen Ortega, the quiet town of Midvale is shaken when Supergirl comes face to face with a galactic bounty hunter, Lobo. Can the Maiden of Might stand up to the main man? DC Summer of Supergirl special will also feature 2 bonus stories, one by Mark Waid and Cian Tormey, and the other by Gail Simone and Emma Kubert, each celebrating Supergirl as she resumes her rightful place as the heir to El, with variant covers by Tula Lotay and Pablo Villalobos, plus a Supergirl movie variant by Mahmoud Asrar. That Villalobos cover is going to be mine.
Yes.
Is that the with all of them on it?
No. It's the third one.
Yeah, the one with the goldish background.
Oh, I don't think I saw it.
Lobos has Lobos on it.
Yeah.
The one next to it too. I'm trying to figure out who that is.
That's Asrar, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the movie one.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was fucking.
I did too.
Shit. You know who I'm talking
this
about.
guy. Yeah.
Adam
Hughes.
Adam Hughes. Yeah, I thought I looked past him like, oh, there's Adam Hughes cover. Cool.
Yeah, dude. I'm hyped for this. I think this is cool. I like the timing of it. I think that's awesome. And look, they got to put Lobo in it. It's synergy.
Sure.
I'm not gonna be mad at it if it feels good, and it's a one shot. So it's not like all of a sudden Lobo's gonna become Supergirl's great big antagonist.
Yeah.
Right.
I will say tonally, the idea of Lobo fits with the current Supergirl run. Tonally. Current Supergirl run's kind of goofy. It's Archie.
Yeah, you mentioned, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Marco, you'd like it.
I read the first, I think, 3 issues.
Damn, fucking take your kimono off and go read the book.
Damn, I forgot what I was gonna say.
He's like, damn, he caught me for wearing a kimono.
The poncho.
Oh,
I wish I had a kimono.
Poncho, the Spanish kimono.
Kurt Wildshut says, what does the heir to El mean? That whole family is dead. I completely agree. That's such a weird statement.
You get, I don't know, a couple crystals.
Ivy Moon says, Marvel ain't doing shit for June Pride-wise. You're wrong. They're doing Armageddon. Don't you have pride in that?
What are you, not an American?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Hey, are they not doing Marvel Voices?
I thought there were plans for
Sure they will.
I thought there were plans for
Marvel June solicits. Let's see.
I thought there was something.
I like how my thinking is. Isn't Marvel doing the bare minimum?
Yeah. Well, hey. Speaking of Marvel, though, they released their solicits as well. And they might not be doing the bare minimum. In fact, they might be doing the most with Spider-Man
Hey yo.
because they are building to Amazing Spider-Man number 1000. We had Superman Action Comics 1000 about a decade ago, and now we will have Amazing Spider-Man 1000. But before we get there, we've got to get there. And so Amazing Spider-Man number 30, 31 will be out in June, and they are Legacy 994, 995 respectively. But the covers are literally emblazoned with countdown to issue 1000.
Which is
Now,
funny seeing 31 on the cover.
I know.
It's a long countdown.
Now, here's the solicit that has led to a ton of speculation. Joe Kelly and guest artist Pete Woods continue to introduce the newest member of Spidey's Rogues Gallery. One of Spider-Man's oldest oldest friends was caught in a terrible accident, and Peter is to blame. Don't miss Spidey versus Spore. But should Peter even be fighting in a tragedy of his own making and learn the answers to an earth-shattering riddle from the battle with Torment in Death Spiral? It's not earth-shattering. Then in 31, Patrick Gleason joins Kelly for The Talk. Just in time for ASM 1000, Peter Parker's world is turned upside down with one of the biggest reveals in Spider-Man history. Don't miss this pivotal story that leads directly into Amazing Spider-Man number 1000. Now, the cover of 31 features Aunt May and Uncle Ben. So what is Marvel teasing us with that could relate to them? Here's a quote from Joe Kelly. This changes everything. A family secret comes to light that rocks Peter and May to the foundation of their relationship. It's huge and has ramifications well past 1000. I try not to oversell these sorts of moments, but this is a big moment. Are we on the verge of a revelation that will lead us to calling Aunt May Mommy May?
Huh?
How is that a revelation for her? She didn't remember she had a toilet baby? Like what?
It'd be a revelation for Peter. It's a family secret.
I guess. I thought the talk would be like birds and bees, you know?
Even birding and being, all right?
Yeah.
Been doing it.
What would the reasoning be for that? Is my question. Like narratively, what does that do?
Narratively, what did it do to send this motherfucker to space?
Allowed him
Just
to
shit
clap
do.
space cheeks.
Well, hey,
Fair point. I mean, if Ben's on the cover, is Ben secretly alive all this time?
like Tupac.
Went out to milk. To get milk. Sorry, not to be milked.
Yeah.
Maybe.
They've been exchanging letters all this time.
That's a good Gleason cover, though, right? Yeah. I like the way he draws Spider-Man's eyes. Kind of looks a little evil there, honestly.
I love
does.
Gleason's Spider-Man.
I wish he would do interiors more often.
Yeah, the times he stepped down to do them during the Zeb Wells run.
Yeah.
Were fucking awesome.
Oh man, that Green Goblin he would draw. Oh
Yeah. But for real though, like, is she dying of cancer? Is she really his mother? You know, like, what could it be?
I think she's gonna be
bro,
getting
that'd
married.
crazy.
But she could be getting married.
I could
Does
see
she
that.
know he's Spider-Man?
That was the other
That's
one that I
also
was
a good one,
thinking. Because especially, what was it, the conversation or something
Yes,
was also
yes.
that issue. So that's what I was going to.
Marco referencing an issue of Ultimate Spider-Man. But that issue is about Mary Jane and Peter, but he's
No.
telling her.
You're talking about
sorry.
JMS.
He's JMS, yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
I'm just trying to think of like where the story is currently. So Peter's back on Earth. He had been ignoring Aunt May this whole time, but can't tell her why because Ben Reilly was in his place being a fucking asshole. And she finally confronts him about it. And like her new boyfriend is pissed off. They moved in together. So the next step after moving in together with your boyfriend is maybe, especially these guys are fucking old, maybe a wedding.
What if
Maybe-
she's having a baby?
That'd
Sean,
be crazy.
there's a little something called biology.
I didn't take that.
I think the female body only has a set amount of eggs from the start, and those quickly dwindle. So I think
She looked like she might have a couple of them left over, bro.
she got a couple stored in the chamber.
Aunt May got a couple in the chamber. She
She
been
froze
waiting,
'em.
bro. Them wheat cakes, it ain't over for her yet. It ain't over for her yet.
I
She
don't see
froze
him.
'em.
I don't see how they could justify her being his mom. That makes no sense to me.
Of course not.
That'd be crazy. Turn the whole Spider-Man universe on its head.
But like, she already plays the mother role. Like this doesn't.
Yeah, but he's been lied to all this time. That's gonna
Right.
affect him at personally.
He lies to people constantly.
Yeah, but it's different when it happens to him.
Ugh, fucking
He-
Peter Parker, man. Not my Mary's, dude. That guy's fucking piece of shit sometimes.
Spider-Man is so old as a character already that it's kind of like, and his story's so deeply told that it's like, what could you really add with this? Like, Aunt May probably shouldn't be the central of any Spider-Man story going forward. So whatever they're telling us is going to be so massive that it leads directly into 1000, which is going to be monumental. So whatever it is, it's a big deal and likely to be very upsetting for Spider-Man fans, if I had to guess.
Who's the artist on that issue for 31?
31
Oh,
is
Patrick Gleason.
yeah, Gleason.
Oh, he's doing interiors too. That's big. That's
Art
big.
and cover.
Huh.
We'll see.
Man, this
Spider-Man.
fucking solicit. Don't miss one of the most pivotal issues in Spider-Man history. Fucking jerk off more, why don't you?
Wait, so then does that mean that that's Legacy 995? So 1,000 is not until December.
No, this is twice a month.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Talking Pine Tree says they know what would make 1000 actually monumental, but they won't do it. So they need something else.
I wonder what he could be referring to.
I wonder too.
Kill her off. Kill Aunt May. No, kill MJ. Let's do it.
Nah, bro.
Actually, like her as Venom. Let's not do that just yet.
Oh, Neon Knight May is pregnant with Paul's baby. There it is.
Yo,
Oh, damn. That baby gonna come out with a top knot.
bring it on.
Already,
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, it's the umbilical cord.
Hell yeah. Spawn is getting a new creative team. It's a brand new day for Spawn. As Todd McFarlane and Brett Booth are exiting stage left
Oh.
ahead of schedule before it was planned for them to step back to welcome a new creative team. And it's a surprise, but a good one, because Matthew Rosenberg and Steven Segovia are coming onto the series, and they're going to jump it a year into the future. Spawn 376 had already been solicited, but now does not feature Todd McFarlane or Brett Booth as the credited creators. It now features the creative team that I just told you. And King Spawn is going over to Matt Rosenberg as well.
Oh.
Oh.
I didn't read that part.
Thomas Natchlick is going to be joining him on that.
Interesting. Okay.
Here's my thing with Spawn.
Sorry. Let me just get through the rest of these.
Okay, yeah.
Gunslinger 54 is going to be written by Erica Schultz
Oh, okay.
Oh.
with Carlo Barberi joining him. He's great. He's awesome on these Spawn books. Scorched number 51 will now be by Thomas Healy and Alessandro Vitti.
Oh, okay.
So interesting and exciting creative teams to me. Tyler, what's your take?
I'll read a Spawn book if McFarlane's not on it. That's the only thing that really drives. Like, anytime he wasn't the sole writer on it, or even co-writer, I didn't hate it. And to bring it even further, I like Rosenberg's writing.
Hmm.
So not only is Todd not on the book, there's a writer on the book that I actually enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, this to me smells like I don't have enough time to write these books because I got a movie coming out. It's happening, dude. Confirmed. He's going, take the books. I got bigger problems to handle.
I love this shift. I think Todd, excuse me, is doing the right thing by Spawn by stepping away. And I guess he could still oversee it. Like he could still
Oh, he will.
you know, but I don't want any more of those fucking news report
Oh, thank God.
scenes with endless dialogue.
I hope Rosenberg does it just to give it a go.
Yeah, yeah.
If he does it, it'll probably be good.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this is great for where the Spawn heads at in the chat.
We shooed them away. We shamed them.
We did shame them, yeah.
I love it.
Oh, so does that mean Spawn's back on Pals Pools, bro?
I think we could definitely talk about Spawn 376 when it comes out. Yeah, I'm definitely down for that. There's a Simone Bianchi cover on this too that is fucking gorgeous.
Oh man,
I'm a Bianchi fan.
That's a perfect marriage too. I think
right?
Simone would do. Yeah, like I that seems perfect.
And though even 376 has fucking Violator and Spawn right on the cover. That's the character. That's like Batman Joker. You know, go back to core Spawn.
Give me the Violator.
The what?
Hey.
The fuck?
Hey, Samuel Summers is here. Welcome.
Cool. We can start the show.
Let's
DC
go.
Rebirth Deep Dive Part 3.
Look, he says he owns over 200 issues of Spawn. Wasn't Samuel Summers saying? Samuel Summers said he's going to sponsor a Spawn book club.
That's
He
right.
So that
yeah.
would be perfect to time with the release of these titles, if possible.
No, we already have it booked out, I think, that far.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Oh, true.
That sucks. But yeah, hype for Spawn.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Well, I don't know about hyped. I will read this.
I'm excited for the change in direction.
What's McFarlane doing, though? He lost the DC license for the toys. He's not going to be doing this. He did. He actually is putting out some new action figures that are fucking rad. Yeah, the Lich King one just got on pre-order, Sean. Yeah.
Got to avoid that.
And Hellboy one coming on pre-order next week. That looks damn good. And he's doing a whole line of image action figures too. So he's dipping more into the image side of things for his action figure line. So I guess he's busy, but also like maybe he can fucking just chill for once.
He's writing that script, bro. It's not gonna write itself.
Yeah. I'm sure Jamie Foxx is gonna be Spawn in a movie. That'll definitely happen. That's my Blade.
Mr.
Hey, I believe it too.
Mr. NYC said, "Y'all slut shamed us." Not you, bro. Not you.
Not. Don't say y'all. Y'all.
Yeah,
I didn't do it.
I didn't do it.
Marco didn't do it.
I certainly did.
It was Kale.
Blame Whitey. When in doubt, blame the white man.
He's not here to defend himself.
Why did that sound so like? It sounded like fucking the Emperor from Star Wars, Palpatine. Liberal. Hey, massive congratulations are in order for the creative team behind Absolute Batman. Absolute Batman is now regularly selling over 300,000 copies a month.
God damn.
Holy shit.
We were just talking about fucking DC being
119.
being proud of not even 150.
Damn.
Issue 15 had nearly 300,000 orders. Issue 18 has over 300,000 orders, which comes directly from Scott Snyder. That is insane. I just told you the numbers that were great in the DC Rebirth era. Doomsday Clock was selling over 100,000 copies, and that was gangbusters.
Yeah.
300,000 every month is ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is rad. This is such a good indicator, such a good marker for where the state of comics are right now, and in particular for DC. Uh, it also not related to this necessarily, but the Prana numbers put DC at top market share again for this past few weeks. So overall, the trajectory of DC is explosive, and the energy behind it, everyone's supporting it, man. Like this is such a great time to be involved in comics, and just to see just to see this trajectory.
I'm really happy about this. I remember when this first dropped, and I was saying like, this feels like the Dark Knight Returns for our era.
Mm,
It feels like it's going to be looked back upon like that. And, now that we're in this space where it's the best selling mainstream comic by a country mile every month, I do think that holds true. And I think that this is a special moment in time. Both of these creators are men in their 50s, and they finally reached that pinnacle of success. It doesn't get better than this for a comic book creator. I mean, the only thing better would be if it was your creator-owned book that was selling like this, but
yeah.
that's not happening for any human. Um, so yeah, this is the peak.
It's time for Marvel to put out that 1,000,000 copy book they keep talking about, right?
It'll happen one day. At $4.99, 300K a month. That's I'm gonna round it up because it's only about 3,000 off, but that's 1.5 million a go. So each issue, presumably, if they're ranging 300K at that price point, 1.5 million
Before reprints.
before reprints. Yeah,
Yeah.
And it's worth pointing out that what we said earlier about how important Batman is to DC Comics proves true here.
Sure.
This book, Scott has specifically said that the success of Absolute, which is buoyed and anchored by Absolute Batman, has allowed them to take greater risks in mainline. That is how powerful Batman is. That's why you cannot have a poor performing Batman title. They have Batman books baked into their calendar year that don't necessarily even have creative teams. Just, we need a Batman book to come out at this point in time in our publishing line.
Yeah.
That's how they think about that character.
And the success of this book allows them to make their Absolute Green Arrow, Absolute Catwoman.
Yeah. Take
I-
chances.
Yeah.
next level, probably presumably off the back of this stuff too.
Sure.
It's not as connected to the main DC universe anymore. It feels. I think we mentioned this on the Pulse episode, but it feels disconnected. Right? You don't need the grounding as much.
It's a chance. Those books are gambles.
Yeah.
What do you think about what Kurt Wildshut says here? I'm happy for the team, and I like Absolute Batman, but come on, people. This creative energy is everywhere in indies. If you branch out a little, curiosity is your friend.
I mean, I agree. Like I remember, what is it? Ghost. What was the fucking Nick Dragata book? It was his like Akira black and white style book, Ghost something.
We can never remember
I know,
the name of this.
which maybe is an issue there, but like it has a lot of the artistic value. I would say this Absolute Batman has on a creator-owned style book that I think
Ghost
is
Cage.
Ghost Cage. Yeah, Ghost Rider, Nicolas Cage, Ghost Cage. That's all I'll get it now. And I think that you're right. The problem is not everyone's that tapped in. Batman is Batman. People recognize that. It says Batman on the title. It's got the logo on it. They're gonna recognize that. I don't want to say like you got to look at the normies here, but like more people are likely to pick that up than a book that I've picked up multiple times and still can't remember the title of. I think the artistic value is irrelevant to the entry point.
Yeah.
You're totally right. This is not happening because, look, the book is great. I don't argue that. But this isn't happening exclusively because of the quality of the book. This is a moment in time. There's the alchemy to the success of this is so much bigger than it's good. I believe the cream rises to the top. But I think this book happens to be great, but it would be selling great either way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. selling great by virtue of the craft and Batman.
And I'd argue, in a way, this success is affecting those indie books and having people discover them. Maybe for a speculator sense. You know, I don't know in a world where Absolute Batman doesn't exist, does Dork sell as many copies as it did?
Yeah, exactly. In the indie space. Yeah.
You're right. It just sucks that, again, it's not about quality. What
Yeah.
Kurt Wildschut's argument is about quality, and unfortunately, quality is not the marker of what sells always. Or at least the alchemy requires so much more than just it being good.
And it's not as immediate. Like, look at Absolute Martian Manhunter. Quality was good, led to it being extended to twice its length.
Yeah.
But that wasn't like an immediate thing. I was like, issue 2, right? Did we find that out?
Cole makes an excellent point. They are mastering the art of the single issue. The pacing is excellent. Moments that get you talking and great cliffhangers.
And they let Batman kick a kid.
That's getting tattooed.
Really? Tramp stamp?
No.
We should do that's what we should do for like a vlog episode. We should all get comic book tattoos.
I don't have mine planned out yet. I don't know what I want yet.
I will never sully my body with the ink of the tattoo.
Blasphemy.
I've never even had my face painted, bro.
Meanwhile, I got Jar Jar Binks permanently on my body. I got a Hogger from World of Warcraft on my body. Not where you'd expect.
Scripture says, didn't Tynan give credit to Exquisite Corpse's success a little bit to the success of the Absolute line? Yes. And there's no doubt about it. What Tyler said is right. But again, like Exquisite Corpses is not being made by me. Exquisite Corpses is being made by James Tynan, who in his own right is a massive name.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, Absolute Batman is the ship or the tide that raises all boats, I guess.
It's proof. It's proof of that. Yeah.
And the influx of readership means that there's an increased likelihood that they, to your point, Kurt, they go out and explore other things.
Yeah. They're not going to hit 300K numbers, but there will be more readers that will discover a book like White Sky outside of the speculator market because they were in the shop for Absolute Batman.
Yeah.
If the shop is selling the book, which is the issue with the speculator market.
Victor Giovanni says, and new name that I've never seen, so thank you for the comment. I love when you guys break lurk for us. There always needs to be the cross-pollination of both quality and mainstream. Yep, 100%. It's very rare for something that feels super indie to gain traction in the mainstream. Think about all the successful non-Big Two comics that we've had in the last 20 years. What were they? A zombie book, a superhero book, and a space sex book.
Murder mystery.
Oh, Saga.
Okay.
Saga, as Marco would say.
Saga.
Never mind. I got to get the fucking Sonic coins on the soundboard. That's what I'll do.
Amin Perez says, what do you mean? Sean has a massive name too. Yeah, that's it. I'm only massive around these parts. Big fish, small pond type thing. Now, my question to you guys is, I'm going to leave it up to the audience to direct the future of this podcast today. We had planned to talk about the Spider-Man trailer, but we've been at it for about 3 hours. It's a film trailer. Some of you may not want spoilers for it. So I'm going to put up a poll. Should we talk about the Spider-Man trailer? Yes or no? Let us know what you think. And in the meanwhile, I'll read this super chat. Typical Spider with the $4.99. Thank you so much. Says, hey, pals, was just watching the Thursday video, but wanted to pop into the live and say that I've been loving the deep dive. And happy Hail Mary weekend.
I will say, I saw Project Hail Mary yesterday.
Good.
I fucking loved it.
Oh, yeah?
Not only good, I thought it was literally phenomenal. Complete surprise for me. So I reckon if you want just like a damn good sci-fi movie, check out Project Hail Mary.
Okay.
I was thinking about going.
It's by Lord and Miller.
Oh.
And written by Drew Goddard.
So this is what's taking so long for that Spider Man.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh no, it's the fact that the artists were made to work insane hours and
Yeah, that too,
underpaid and
that.
underfed and all that other stuff. Sorry, I forgot.
Too.
Thank you though, typical spider. Do you think original villains will be created and not just rehashed in the absolute universe? Asks Dean Costellarellis. I don't think we will see original villains personally.
There's too much rehashing needed, really. But it is Snyder who did like to make new villains in his Batman run.
I was about to say that.
So maybe. I don't think it's completely off the table. I would say unlikely, but a possibility.
It's not that I don't see a world where we could get like a new villain. I just feel like new is not really the point of
Yeah.
absolute.
Yeah.
Just like the Ultimate Universe, we got precious few new characters. I'm talking about the OG one.
Yeah, like
Very
Bombshell,
precious few. Yeah, like
which great character. Bring her back.
typical Spider with the 499. I'd love to hear y'all talk about the Spidey trailer. A separate video would be great too. You know, dude, thank you for saying that. When we break videos out, they tend not to perform that well because our core audience is here, you know? But yeah, thank you for saying that.
And they're also not movie people. Not
Yeah.
like movie people are their own separate entity on YouTube.
Yeah, and there are other channels that do that and have that locked in audience. You guys don't care about us talking about movies by and large.
You guys don't care about the failing MCU.
The MCU is failing.
It's dying. It's
China.
dead. Should we talk about the Spider-Man trailers? 71% of you said yes.
Yeah, why not?
29% of you said no. All right. We'll talk about it. We'll I guess we can dance around spoilers. There's not really any spoilers. Whatever. What do you guys think of the trailer?
We have to talk about this, so I will. But I don't know if I have many thoughts about this trailer. If I'm being completely honest, the only thoughts I have are like, man, there seems to be a lot in this movie that is used for a montage in the trailer, which I feel will also be a montage in the movie. Like one of my favorite villains shows up in this trailer. I mean, he's in the fucking image, so I'll say it. Boomerang shows up in this, and they recreate that famous cover of Boomerang in the 90s. The the Tarantula shows up, and they recreate that cover too, which I had that issue from that first 80s Spider-Man run. So I think visually there's something here that's actually pretty cool. They recreate the Amazing Fantasy 15 cover. And it's cool to see Paul show up. But like, I don't know. I'm gonna see it, but like, my enjoyment for movies isn't in superhero movies right now. So these almost just feel like appointment viewing, for good or for bad. And then by the time I see it, that could change my mind.
I'm gonna double down on the it feels like appointment viewing, because I feel like this is one of those things that even beside the show, I would go see because
Yeah.
I'm entrenched enough in the comic community so that I would be of interest to me. Personally, I would always wait. But for me, this trailer was just like, oh, cool. These are kind of the beats we're going to hit. These are the characters that we're going to be able to see. I am excited for Punisher. That is cool. To like see the interaction, and for that to be something that, we get some quips. Bernthal's great. So, I don't know that I'm excited as much as I am. That looks like it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I'm fucking hyped, pals. I am really looking forward to this movie. I thought the trailer was awesome. I loved the part of Fantastic Four where they showed you like them just beating villains or whatever. That was the
The
montage
intro, yeah.
that they did there, and I always felt like that would be really cool to see in a Spider-Man movie because he's so kinetic and his interactions with his villains are so funny that it would be nice to not only get one or two, but to get small little segments with different ones.
It-
Um,
And he has so many like D-list villains. This is where you throw them in. This is where I
that
want to
would
see like
never
Kangaroo.
right. Like they'll never be the main villain, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't get a moment. It's not,
No.
that's cool. So I appreciate that fact. I have a theory though about this movie that I haven't seen anybody really talking about.
Okay.
And I'm gonna drop it here. So the trailer shows us that Peter's changing. Something's happening with Peter, his body. And it looks like they might be doing the other comic storyline.
Yeah.
Notably where Peter gets organic webbing. And a lot of people hate that. I love that. Go ahead.
Which the comic doing that was a response to the movies doing that.
You could make that argument. I don't know if it's ever been explicitly stated, but sure.
Which then now the movies are potentially calling back to the comics. And it's fucking Ouroboros.
It's been very much snake eating its tail. This movie includes the Punisher, though.
Yes.
And that made me think about Spider-Man, the animated series. And there is a storyline in that show where Spider-Man changes and his powers change and he grows arms. He has 6 arms.
Yeah.
And then he becomes a monster.
Yeah.
He becomes the man spider.
Yeah.
This trailer showed no primary antagonist. My theory is the reason is because Man Spider is the primary antagonist.
From It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Who turned him into the Man Spider in the cartoon?
It was a result of his mutation.
Okay.
Now, Keith David is in the trailer.
Yeah, that's what
It's possible he could be playing like maybe the Jackal or somebody like that. Not going the clone route necessarily, although they could tie that in and maybe the clone becomes the Man Spider. But my supposition is that we will absolutely see the Man Spider in this movie, the Punisher's here for that, and that the villain of this film is a version of that idea.
Can I make an even crazier prediction?
Please.
Peter Parker is going to be a mutant in the MCU.
I don't think so.
I think with the rumors and I would say confirmation in this trailer of Jean Grey.
What? Confirmation?
There's visible telepathy happening in this.
What?
Tank gets pulled over, right? Old woman, he pulls the thing open. There's an old woman. She looks confused. Then she does a thing. Her consciousness transfers over to the guy with pointing a gun at Peter. That's mind control happening. So I think that confirms it's Jean Grey. If Punisher's trying to protect Jean Grey, which was also like a rumor, and Jean Grey's being hunted down, the idea of mutants being hunted is being introduced here. And Spider-Man going through a second mutation could be a way of tethering him to mutants. Because the whole MCU next arc is going to be a mutant arc.
Interesting. I did also take it in the way that Sean was breaking down, where he would turn Man Spider. I figured that would just be like obvious with the organic webbing piece. But I can see what you mean in terms of it triggers some sort of secondary mutation. I don't know that they're gonna like lean into that, and I don't think that. I was trying to figure out who that old woman was. I'm trying to look back now at that.
She's no one. That's the thing. And with the Hulk in here too, him going through a possible another mutation as well. The theme of mutation will be there.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I think the reason why I don't believe in him becoming a mutant thing is because Marvel has done this many times.
Sure.
Spider-Man's relationship to the mutants is strong, and one of the things that they bond over is the fact that Spider-Man is a result of mutation as well. It's just not an organic one. And so I don't think that we can read too much into the use of the word mutation, because that does apply to Spider-Man, and it always has.
Yes. And I'm going to give you a argument for and against my theory. For is mutation and mutant is going to be very important of a word going forward for the MCU. So using that word to muddy the idea of what a mutant could be seems like a misfire. Unless you're tying it in. My argument against is this is still Sony who has the rights, so maybe Marvel doesn't want to add too much of the X-Men stuff in a property they have not full control over.
I agree with Mr. Negative. I think it's Chameleon, and they just changed the way they look to make it look like they were confused. I just watched that piece back, and I definitely don't get the impression of mind control, especially because it's pretty clear in this sequence that what's happening is not positive. So what, like, it doesn't look like someone's being mind controlled. Look at the reactions people are having. Something is happening to them. It almost looks like their bodies are being jumped into or something like that.
Yeah.
Not that they're being mind controlled by a telepathic. And Jean is a good character, not a bad one. So why does it look like if you look at the way it happens, it doesn't look positive.
I think she's fighting against people trying to maybe catch her, like the government.
Chameleon can throw his power. Isn't he
No.
just like an individual?
No, what Mr. Negative is suggesting is that the same way that Marvel has often changed their trailers around to obscure facts, that they may well be doing that here. Because there is a character that you see from the back who's wearing a green jacket and like a sack over his head,
Hoodie.
Yeah. We don't know who that is, but definitely gives me Chameleon vibes.
There is also a Marvel artist, Lucas Meyer, someone who drew Sadie Sink as Jean Grey wearing this outfit, like that similar as the jacket look, before the trailer came out, saying it was Jean Grey that he was drawing.
Okay.
And I think if you adjust the camera, if you adjust the coloring on that shot of that hooded character, it does look like kind of green and yellow, like an army green jacket, yellow undershirt. But we'll see. In virtual reality fitness, Keith David is in this movie. That is 100% Keith David's voice. People are saying it's Travis Tillman. No, his voice is in the trailer as well, just not the Keith David lines. The stuff about mutations is Keith David speaking, which I think it could be a cool play on Kurt Connors.
Oh, okay.
Like maybe not an antagonist, just another guy in the same place where Bruce is teaching.
Yeah, going through the same sort of shit.
Just have Kurt Connors there. You don't need to have Lizard. Or maybe even it's Kurt Connors who got past the Lizard already. One arm. Can speak to it.
It remains to be seen. This is going to be a very interesting movie. It's going to be a very, very, very interesting movie. I love Jean Grey. She's my favorite character. I would love for Sadie Sink to be playing her. I just don't get why debut her here. That feels so bizarre to me. Especially because this is coming out before Secret Wars and before Doomsday, which means that if she's a mutant, mutants would have to already exist on this Earth, and we know they don't. Or at least the MCU has never explicitly told us that they do. They're miracles.
Miss Marvel says mutant.
Yeah. But she says mutant, but that doesn't mean she is a mutant. Mutant, when I say mutant, there's a difference between mutation and being a mutant.
She says mutant in the X-Men theme plays in the background, though.
I understand that, but there are no mutants in the traditional sense in the MCU, as far as we've been told. That's not a controversial.
They gotta do it. They gotta start it somewhere, though. So this could be it.
But the common belief is that, because how do you get to the place where mutants have been hiding in plain sight this whole time?
I don't know.
Sure, we can. I mean, I'm sure we can comic book that. Like that.
We can crazy through Secret Wars. It makes a lot more sense if the path forward after Secret Wars is X-Men and they rejigger reality to make it so that mutants have always been there. But if Jean Grey is being introduced here as a mutant, then they have to explain where mutants have been. And that feels very challenging considering that none of them showed up for Thanos. I don't believe that at all.
Unless that's what Secret Wars is the explanation.
I don't want
Yeah.
a movie to be an explanation.
I mean, it's not going to be an explanation movie, but the explanation will be in the movie.
Right.
Kyle
right.
says it right. The only time we saw a mutant was in the Marvels, where she's in another universe.
True.
100%. The movies are very obviously setting up an X-Men versus Avengers scenario, but there are no X-Men in this world. So it makes perfect sense to clash them together, and the result of that clash leads to mutants existing. But we'll see. We'll see.
Did I miss Sadie Sink?
No, she's
No,
not.
she's not.
She's in the
trilogy.
movie though. We know that much.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I see. Okay.
I read she gets third billing too. It's Tom Holland, Zendaya, then Sadie Sink, like on a poster. That there's a rumor of that, which means that's a big role.
Yeah.
She's part of the
Yeah.
hand.
There's that one shot of Spider-Man jumping to fight the hand, right?
Yeah.
And it has the same vibe as No Way Home, where like there's a lot of empty space below Spider-Man, where like the weight of the image doesn't feel balanced. You think Daredevil could be in there?
I mean, The Hand, Punisher, Daredevil was in the last movie.
Right.
Maybe
I can
they
see it.
CGI him out until his show is done with his second season, and maybe there's a teaser to this.
I saw people like talk about like under Spider-Man. There's a like they circled something and like, oh, you got to look here because maybe they fudged something there.
They're not going to show an error in it. It's just the only thing we can go by is weight, like No Way Home. We were right about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Um Matt said he's not in the movie.
Of course he fucking did.
Yeah.
I don't trust actors at all. Their job is lying.
Yeah, of course. What are they gonna do? Spoil it?
Yeah.
They're-
He's got a
if-
sniper on everyone, you know?
If the trailer doesn't show Daredevil, the dude playing Daredevil's not gonna come out and be like, "Yo, I'm actually in this, by the way."
Oh man, they fucking CGI'd me out.
Fuck.
Oh boy. All right. We owe another wheel spin. And then we owe the GOAT game.
Yep. Oh, drink up.
Yeah, give me that.
Oh, no more. I gotta go to the bathroom.
I'm doing the fucking pee-pee dance over here in my chair, man. I gotta go too.
Oh shit. All right. And then I also want to shout out the rest of our patrons who make the show possible week in and week out. Thank you so much. We love you. The support has been crazy. March has been our best month.
That's right.
March has been our best month, and that is a result of you guys. So huge shout out to you. Thank you so much. Amin, the Almighty Perez, Houston, the Century Kid Murphy, Young Dende, Fae Fighter Dewooty, Cosmic November, Carter the Owl Shogunate, Steve Swarm Canaris, Scripture, the Wardens of the Word, Jack of Some Trades, Cloutier, Chris the Cure Coleman, Emperor MD Johnny, Mad Max Pliskin, Lieutenant Earl Wagnus, the Death Dealer, Jack, Grimstone Grimmy, Eli the Mothman, Patrick Zay, Captain Chris, Ray Lytle, Super Jop. We will resume Origins when the deep dive is over. Thank you. Please be patient. I am excited about these stories. Just got to get to them. Let's play the GOAT game, shall we?
Come on.
All right, let's see what
Either not me or give me a good one, all right? One I fucking know.
Oh, and Into Gray, excuse me. Into Gray joined us as well. Shout out to you. Into Gray is becoming integral, more integral into our community that happens off on Discord, which everyone should be a part of.
All right. Who's it gonna be?
Who indeed? Just Tyler.
No, just Sean.
Nope. Just Marco and Sean.
No.
Yo, what the fuck?
That's always there's never a duo with me, I feel.
Yeah,
I gotta
unless
look at
we're
that.
the only two here.
All right. Who's
And
it gonna
even then,
be?
it's
Who's
just
your
one.
character? Your character is going to be
Character. Oh, that's right. We missed what was it? Super chat from Hayden. Sorry about that. I think we're prepping to do King of Killer story for Frank since the trade is about to come out and the hand showed up in this.
Is that what story? Which that's not the Aaron stuff, is it?
I don't know what that is.
I
No,
don't-
I
I
think that
don't
would
know what that
be a
is.
different one. Maybe.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it
Jason
is.
Aaron.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
King of Killers. Yeah.
Okay.
We-
I don't know.
And we also had a couple other super chats. Slyboot Demon for $5 said, "Give me Joe Fix It." I think you'll get that color. I don't think you'll get Joe Fix It though.
Oh.
And then Big Busta also said for the 10 spot, making him a mutant would be the synergy that Marvel wants from Sony. His previous films were stuff with Avengers, so now it's mutants.
But this one has other Marvel characters as well. They literally cannot not do this. This is how it has to be. They
This is
have
how
to
a Hulk
include-
movie, a whole character appearance has to be, because he can't be in a movie. He can't be in a
But-
Hulk movie.
They cannot make Spider-Man movies without these types of things.
Yeah.
That's why it happens every single time. And it's the only character they do it with.
Well, Miam don't want these two to talk about Bizarro.
Wait, we've done this.
We've done Bizarro?
No,
Yeah, I think so.
no.
Because you did the same bit.
I do the bit whenever Bizarro comes up, when we talked about Bizarro Year 1 coming out.
Hmm.
You're none.
Year None, yeah. Which the pages came after that. It's looking damn good.
All right, so we're talking Bizarro.
Yes, and I will have a caveat here. Do it in Bizarro language. For extra points.
Ooh.
I think if the
I'm gonna need it, bro.
You can go ahead and do that, Marco. I'm
Yeah.
gonna play it straight because I want to win. Do you want to go first, or shall I?
I'll go first. I'll go first.
All right.
I set up the poll as well. Oh, not yet. Not yet. I didn't hit yet. Start yet, but
put nobody on there.
yeah, I put neither. Ready? Bizarro coming out of the pages of not Superman. I'm not gonna stick to it. Coming out of the pages of Superman is the GOAT, as he is quite literally the antithesis of one of the key heroes of the DC universe. So much so, in fact, that he's mentioned to be the opposite of him. That makes him and places him in direct competition for not only being one of the best supervillains, but being the GOAT of the DC universe. His backwards powers, his language, his way of speak, his prominence in so many beloved runs. How can this individual not be the GOAT?
Damn, you gave up immediately.
That was pretty funny. I gotta say.
Brother, this guy stinks!
All right. Here we go. Bizarro is not the best villain of all time. Bizarro, worst villain of all time. Bizarro is not inspired by Superman. Bizarro inspired by Bizarro World. Bizarro comes from Bizarro World. Bizarro is the flip of Superman. Bizarro is everything bad that Superman is not. I'm losing myself in this shit. Fucking Bizarro speak. Look, Bizarro's awesome. Bizarro is a character that you can have deep emotional moments with, but you can also have him fight Superman and be really cool. He's cuddly and cute sometimes, but he's also vicious and monstrous at times. All right.
You gave it more of
That's
a
as
college
good as-
try than Marco did.
I made it through most of it, but towards the end, I tripped myself up a little bit. It's tough to talk like that.
I started
So-
it and I was like, I can't continue that.
Who convinced you that Bizarro is the GOAT?
I'm voting on my personal.
Patrick Zay said voting for Marco. Why is Sean shitting on him? I didn't say anything.
Marco he dug his own hole with that one.
I didn't even say one word about Marco's pitch.
Marco, you didn't even start with Bizarro am not the worst, the worst of all, or the best of all time, whatever.
I started to think about what to even say, that I was like, oh, I'm not gonna this plus struggle my way through. No, I'm good.
Look, man, it needed to be done. The chat needs to hear it. That's what they wanted. You got to give the people what they want, Marco.
Let me know when the poll's done.
I want my victory.
You ain't gonna get it. The question really now is not whether I won, it's whether you're gonna be better than neither.
Oh.
Which is receiving quite a few votes. Hayden's Hideout says Bizarro worst villain in Marvel Universe. In Unjustice, he unfriended Trickster, and they became worst enemies until Bizarro alived Trickster.
I guess the opposite of DC Universe could be the Marvel Universe.
Oh man. Honestly, whoever loses the poll should win in honor of Bizarro, says Steve Canaris. Well, let's talk about the end of the poll and let's see how you guys voted. Perfect. That's the fucking NBA draft music.
NFL, but yeah.
They do it in the NBA too.
Same sound?
That same, yeah, that same
Oh, okay.
chime sound, yeah. 43% of you said me. 30% of you said neither. And 27% of you voted Marco. And apparently, some amount of you voted Marco to be Bizarro.
Yes.
True. That would skew the vote. Yeah.
That's right.
So Marco, you lost even harder.
I what do you mean?
Me,
dude?
I think Marco won.
Me, I'm last.
Yes.
No, you didn't even do it right there.
Yeah.
Marco am first, actually.
No, Marco am last. Because I won. I got first, so I'm
What
last.
the fuck are you talking about? That's not how it works.
Let's track the logic. So his reverse is saying that Marco am won. All right, so he goes there.
Well, we'll go because I won because in Bizarro logic, right? Last is first, but I can't say I'm first, so I have to say I'm last.
Well,
Marco am won with last place.
Right. Marco am last.
Marco am won with first place, I think is the way you got to say it.
yeah, because you lost in last place.
Well,
so you have to reverse that.
Which is why a lot of people do not write Bizarro.
Amin Perez, though, says Marco worst pals member.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if that's in Bizarro speak or not, but
Poll's done. That's straightforward.
We take it straight.
Yep.
Amin, we got words now.
All right. We've put our time in. This has been fun. It's been amazing. Thank you all so much for showing up for the deep dive. Really appreciate that and hanging out for the rest of the show. You guys know we always have a great time over here. Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern, you will be able to check out Pal's previews. Make sure you run those numbers up. Watch that. Thursday, 8 p.m. for Pal's polls, where we're going to be reviewing one book I can tell you for sure we're going to be reviewing is the Superman Spider-Man crossover.
Yep.
So can't wait for that. And then before you know it, we're right back here at 10:15 a.m. Eastern on Saturday for the final edition of the DC Rebirth Deep Dive.
And also join the Discord for some post pals after the show. I want to plug them too.
Yeah. Well, if we're going to plug it, let's fucking throw a link in there, shall we? You guys want to join the Discord? There you go. Come hang out with us